Chapter 1063. Seeing Su Yin stop talking, Zhuolengyue says with a smile. From the moment I saw you, I knew you were up to no good. You want to hand over all my personal treasures to the state treasury, right? No. Su Yin shakes his head. But I think it's better to put these things in a museum and let everyone have a chance to see these rare treasures if they are kept in a private space forever. These things represented the history of human development and were of considerable historical value. But if they are kept in a private space that only belongs to you, their value won't be reflected, and the history that is gradually forgotten by people won't be shown. So, you little brat, don't talk to me like that. Even if you break the sky, I won't donate my treasures to the museum for nothing. The museum will make money from my treasures, but it won't give them to me. Zhuolengyue says. It's better to keep them by my side than to let some big tigers covet the money earned from these treasures. Only people who know how to appreciate them deserve to own them. Su Yin shakes his head. How can the museum make money from your treasures? Our museum doesn't charge anything. You just need to make an appointment and get the ticket. There's no problem as long as your ID card is valid. There won't be any big tigers who will make money from your treasures. Zhuolengyue says. After people visit the museum must have various maintenance fees. Does the state have to pay for these fees? It's just a visit. What's there to maintain? What I'm talking about is not as simple as the ticket fee. The annual maintenance fee of a museum is really a lot, and the money is given by the state, and the state's money is given by the taxpayers. Isn't it the same in the end? There's no standard for the maintenance fee. This invisible money is what I don't understand. After a pause, Zhuolengyue continues. If I want these things to show their value, I can open them for free. I don't need any maintenance fees from the state. In this way, won't these things be more valuable? Moreover, I believe that no one would be foolish enough to touch the ground on top of my, Zhuolengyue's, head and dare to have ideas about my collection, right? Su Yin smiled awkwardly. He indeed had this idea, and he almost made a move on Zhuolengyue's head. The meaning is different. Su Yin said, Sister Yu, actually there aren't that many hidden secrets. The cost of maintaining the museum was normal. There are indeed some big tigers in the country, but haven't we beaten them back to their original form one by one? The Huaxia government will work harder and harder to do things for the people. That sounds nice. Zhuolengyue rolled her eyes at Su Yin. But I won't agree. When Ma San'er heard that Su Yin actually had the guts to ask for something from Zhuolengyue, he hurriedly pulled Su Yin to his side and explained to Zhuolengyue, Sister Yu, he didn't mean that. How would we dare to ask for something from you? Please don't mind it. Just treat it as if he farted and didn't hear anything. Seeing Ma San'er's nervous look, Zhuolengyue didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She said, You'd better call me Aunt. I feel more comfortable. Ma San'er was stunned for a moment, but he immediately nodded and called her Aunt. As long as Zhuolengyue could be in a good mood and let them leave here unscathed, Ma San'er would be satisfied. He didn't want to make trouble for Su Yin. If he angered Zhuolengyue out of humiliation, the loss would outweigh the gain. Aunt Zhua, that if there's nothing else, we'll leave first. It's really late, and I still have something to do in Panjiayuan. Ma San'er said. We were so close to each other. There will be plenty of opportunities to meet in the future, right? If you have anything to do, just tell me, and I'll do it for you right away. Ma San'er didn't want to provoke people like Zhuolengyue. One must know that there were still thousands of poor students waiting for Ma San'er's aid money to eat. If something happened to Ma San'er, it was equivalent to these students having no food to eat. The first few poor students that Ma San'er trained were now freshmen in Yanjing University. They all told Ma San'er that as long as they graduated, they would immediately find a job and work hard to earn money. Once they earned money, they wouldn't buy a house or a car. Even if they didn't marry a wife, it would be fine. They would leave enough money for normal living expenses and give the rest of the money to Ma San'er, so that Ma San'er could support more children from poor families. With the words of these mature children, Ma San'er felt that everything he did was worth it. You don't really think this place is an ordinary club, do you? You think you can come and go as you please? Bai Xiaoye said. My master didn't allow you to leave. None of you can leave. Su Yin glanced at Bai Xiaoye. Sister Yu, your disciple is really domineering. Is that so? Then I'll talk to her about this. Zuolingyue smiled. If you guys are really in a hurry to go back, I'll let her send you guys back. Treat it as an apology for her attitude. Bai Xiaoye frowned. What's wrong with Master? Why is she speaking up for these two? Why? Just because the two of them had sweet mouths and called her auntie and elder sister. Did they really make Master confused? If Master was really confused, she, Bai Xiaoye, wouldn't be confused. She definitely wouldn't let them leave this place so easily. Su Yin finally mustered up his courage and said, Sister Yu, before I leave, I want to ask you a question. Aya, what time is it? Why are you still asking questions? Auntie Zwa needs to rest, okay? Why are you so immature? Let's go. Ma Sanner was really afraid that Su Yin would say something wrong. However, Su Yin didn't care about Ma Sanner's winking expression. He said to Zuolingyue very seriously, Sister Yu, how do you know my identity? What else do you know about me? How do I know your identity? He, with your aura, I can tell that you were trained by Wan Guangxiao and Wang Yi. With your righteous aura, you're obviously from the Dragon Brigade. Zuolingyue said. If you reach my age and see more things, you'll naturally know. Su Yin was stunned. Is that all? What else do you want me to know? Zuolingyue said. I don't know how to read people's faces. Su Yin was a little anxious and didn't know how to express himself. I mean, do you know my identity? Enough. What else do you want to know? Let's go. There are still important things waiting for us in the Pan Garden. Ma Sanner pulled Su Yin away. Zuolingyue also waved her hand. Xiaoye, see the guest out. After that, her figure flashed and disappeared behind the secret door. No matter how Su Yin called out, there was no response. Bai Xiaoye looked at Su Yin, as if she was looking at a crazy person. If you don't leave and anger my master, she won't forgive you easily. Su Yin, I'll ask you one last time. Are you leaving or not? Go. Go. Go immediately. Ma Sanner said repeatedly. Chapter 1064. Even though Bai Xiaoye was extremely unwilling, she still had to listen to her master, and obediently send these two fellows back to Yanjing's Panjies. And this mysterious Blue Seal Club slowly disappeared from Su Yin's sight. Even now, Su Yin still felt that such an otherworldly palace-like place was a little exaggerated. Damn. Aren't you a little too unreliable? Su Yin, don't tell me you don't know who Zuolingyue is? If you really don't want to live anymore, then don't drag me down with you. Ma Sanner was still in a state of shock. Fortunately, the Blue Seal Club had already disappeared from his sight. She is the Empress. We simply escaped from death. Ma Sanner wasn't afraid that Bai Xiaoye would be angry. After all, he was indirectly praising Zuolingyue, and believed that Bai Xiaoye wouldn't fall out with him because of this. Su Yin naturally knew that she was the Empress. Even if she didn't say anything, he could tell from her strength. She was hailed as the strongest woman, no, the strongest person in the underground world. It was easy for her to leave a shocking impression on others. Ma Sanner wasn't the only one who felt a lingering fear. Su Yin also felt the same. Empress Zuolingyue's aura wasn't something that an ordinary person could withstand. Even when she was in a good mood, she could still make an expert like Su Yin feel pressured. It was hard to imagine what it would feel like to anger her and burst forth with an aura that could cause waves to surge to the sky. Let me tell you, don't play dumb again. We have already seen this place, but don't you dare have any ideas. Ma Sanner understood Su Yin quite well. From the very beginning, Su Yin already had some thoughts about the gold thread jade garment. Now that he saw so many national treasures in the room, his evil thoughts would probably deepen. Ma Sanner dared to say that if they hadn't met Empress Zuolingyue, who could make them feel pressured just by breathing, Su Yin would have done something that he couldn't control. Of course, if Bai Xiaoye was the only one guarding these treasures, she would be in big trouble tonight. When did you become Sister Yu's disciple? Su Yin suddenly asked. Because Zuolingyue was one of the most mysterious people in the underground world. There were a lot of things that were not known to outsiders. It was natural for Su Yin to be curious, because it would be inconceivable for such an expert to accept a disciple. Bai Xiaoye didn't even look at Su Yin. Don't think that I'll look at you differently just because you amused my master with a younger name. I don't need outsiders to care about my personal affairs. I didn't offend you, so you don't have to be so aggressive. I'm just concerned about you. I don't have any other intentions. Suyin shrugged helplessly. Bai Xiaoye really wasn't a good-tempered person. I'm not worthy for an expert like you to care about me. You've really hidden yourself well. I still foolishly thought that I was powerful, but it turns out that I was just a joke to you. Bai Xiaoye was still holding back her anger because Su Yun's disguise was too tight. She couldn't see through him at all. Now in Bai Xiaoye's eyes, Su Yun was a super two-faced and shrewd person. He was definitely someone that she couldn't befriend. She might even help him count the money after being betrayed by him. You don't have to mind it so much. It's all in the past. Su Yun. He felt that the real reason why Bai Xiaoye was angry wasn't because of this. It was because her master, Zuolingyue, definitely knew about Su Yun's identity, but didn't tell her. That was what Bai Xiaoye couldn't accept. That night at the Pan Garden, Bai Xiaoye's purpose wasn't just to show off the golden jade dress, but also to collect information about people. Everyone present that night was recorded in the video. Therefore her master, Zuolingyue, already knew that the person beside Ma San'er wasn't a simple person, but didn't tell her. This was what made Bai Xiaoye feel embarrassed. You think it's all in the past? Who do you think you are? Bai Xiaoye said with disdain. You can coax my master, but that doesn't mean you can coax me. That's not necessarily true. Ma San'er said. As long as a man's mouth is sweet enough, he can get any woman. Bai Xiaoye rolled her eyes and glared at Su Yun. Stop talking nonsense. Do you believe that I won't throw you out of the car right now? Ma San'er was puzzled. Could it be because of her charisma? Why did he have to be so polite all the time, but was easily provoked the moment he opened his mouth? Be it Empress Zuolingyue or her beautiful disciple, Bai Xiaoye, they didn't have a good temper when talking to him. On the other hand, no matter how wrong Su Yun was, at least he could get a reply from the other party when he said something. Whether it was arguing or getting angry, they wouldn't be like him, who was suppressed the moment he opened his mouth. You don't want to talk about your childhood, right? Su Yun smiled faintly. Although her master was Zuolingyue, Bai Xiaoye still needed many years of hard work to reach the level of a super expert like her today. Therefore, Su Yun dared to judge that she grew up with Zuolingyue. Bai Xiaoye's face sank. Are you done? Do you really want to get out of the car? Maybe we are the same. People who didn't have a childhood. Su Yun ignored Bai Xiaoye's threat. When children from ordinary families were still sleeping in their mother's arms, I woke up early to receive training. Even adults couldn't endure the limits of the human body, but I started to endure them when I was 4 years old. When children from ordinary families still needed their parents to bring them to the supermarket to buy snacks and daily necessities, I was thrown into a primitive forest alone to undergo wilderness survival training. Children from ordinary families have parents to accompany them every day, and can throw a tantrum. However, I don't know the concept of parents. Su Yun's words touched Bai Xiaoye's heart, and her eyes turned slightly red. It was unknown if she pitied Su Yun's childhood, or if she had the same childhood experience as Su Yun. Su Yun believed that his pity wouldn't move Bai Xiaoye. Only by empathizing with each other's sufferings would Bai Xiaoye's eyes turn red. We are the same type of people. Maybe we can become friends in the future. Su Yun. I'm 25 years old this year. If you don't mind, you can call me Big Brother. Of course, if you are older than me, you can also call me Little Brother. If you need my help in the future, feel free to ask me. Although it was just a simple sentence, it deeply touched Bai Xiaoye's heart. Bai Xiaoye could hear the sincerity in Su Yun's words. Sincerity could only be felt and couldn't be expressed. Bai Xiaoye actually smiled sweetly at Su Yun for the first time. Do I look older than you? I'm only 22 years old. I'll believe you even if you say you are 17 years old. Su Yun. However, if you wear sunglasses, you will look 27 years old. It seems that your master is very good at taking care of women. He made you look so young. TSK. What brand of facial mask did you use? Recommend it to me. Soon, the originally tense atmosphere was quietly dissolved by Su Yun. Ma Saner was so shocked that he couldn't close his mouth. Awesome. This is called being capable. If it were anyone else, who would have Su Yun's ability? TSK. If I want to pick up girls in the future, I really need to learn from Brother Yun. Chapter 1065. After a night of torment. It was already midnight when they returned to Panjiayuan. Ma Saner couldn't stop yawning. He woke up too early this morning, and Su Yun and Lin Ge woke him up before he even woke up. If he didn't sleep in, Ma Saner wouldn't be able to endure staying up all night. Lin Ge had been waiting at the entrance of the shop. When he saw the silver lake blue car again, he sat up immediately. They were finally back. However, because Bai Xiaoya sent them back, Lin Ge also realized that Brother Yun didn't get what he wanted this time. From the moment Su Yun insisted on going, Lin Ge was sure that he wanted to get the jade dress back. Brother, what's going on? Lin Ge asked impatiently before they got out of the car. Su Yun shrugged. It was a long story, and he didn't know where to start. Ma Saner had a lot of things he wanted to tell Lin Ge. I can't explain it in a few sentences. I'll talk to you when we go in. Take care on the way back. Safety is the most important thing. Before Su Yun opened the door and got out, he gave Bai Xiaoya a kind reminder. Bai Xiaoya glanced at Su Yun. You're not worried about a girl like me driving all night? You still have the cheek to ask me to call you brother? Isn't that a bit too much? Su Yun was stunned. Perhaps because they were in the same boat, Bai Xiaoya's view of him changed 180 degrees. Then, I can't possibly ask you to stay the night, right? After all, there are 3 of us here. It's really inconvenient for a girl like you to stay the night. Nonsense, if you ask me to stay the night, I'll suspect that you guys have ulterior motives. Bai Xiaoya had a helpless expression. I've been busy with your matters today, and I haven't eaten dinner yet. Don't tell me you want me to eat supper alone. There are so many rich second-generation heirs in Yanjing City who have nothing to do at night. Aren't you afraid that someone will provoke me? Provoke you? I'll be damned. Su Yun thought, you're a super expert. Whoever dares to provoke you is really blind. They'll definitely regret it for the rest of their lives. No one could do anything to a normal hooligan, gangster, or young master, right? He didn't need anyone to protect him. Who dares to provoke you? Isn't that courting death? Ma Saner pointed it out insensibly. Bai Xiaoya no longer tried to be tactful and directly said to Su Yun, I'm hungry, and I want to eat something. I'm not familiar with Beijing, so you can accompany me. Since the girl had already spoken, how could Su Yun have the nerve to refuse? He could only nod. Anyway, it was already very late, so it didn't matter if it was a little later. Ma Saner was excited when he heard that. That's great. I'm hungry too. Miss Bai, since you're the one who invited us, you must be treating us. I know a good place for supper. I didn't say I'm bringing you. Bai Xiaoya's words were like a bucket of cold water that directly poured over Ma Saner's head. Ma Saner's stomach had only just growled twice before it withered. Lin Ge pointed at himself. Then, I guess I'm not going to have anything to do with you, right? You're very self-aware. Bai Xiaoya nodded. She only wanted Su Yun to accompany her to eat. The reason was very simple. It was because Su Yun was the same type of person as her. Both of them didn't have a childhood, and their childhood memories were constantly being tempered. Therefore, she believed that she should have something to talk about with Su Yun. As for Ma Saner and Lin Ge, Bai Xiaoya obviously didn't want to know more about them. The human mind was very subtle. In that moment in the car, Su Yun's simple words made Bai Xiaoya see him in a new light. TSK. Ma Saner shook his head gloomily as he sang Brother Xiaochun's song. However, he changed the lyrics slightly. I don't have that kind of fate. She has no reason to invite me. Heroes and beauties don't belong in the same country. It's all Brother Yun's fault for being too handsome. Brother Yun's too nice. Don't be silly. Don't talk about supper. I have to eat my fill in the future. I don't have that kind of fate. It's not my turn to eat supper. Bai Xiaoya wasn't in the mood to listen to Ma Saner's self-admiring ballad. She said to Su Yun, Are you going or not? Tell me. Let's go. Su Yun nodded. He also wanted to know more about Bai Xiaoya and Zuolingyue. Therefore, he definitely wouldn't miss this supper. Suyin closed the car door again and said to Lin Ge, "You guys rest first. I'll be back soon." Lin Ge looked at Suyin with an "I understand" expression. "It's okay if you don't come back. Ma Saner's snoring is so annoying. I don't want to sleep here anymore. F***ck. You're sleeping in my house and you're complaining that I'm too noisy? Why are you the same as your brother?" Ma Saner stopped singing and rubbed his stomach. "Since Miss Bai isn't bringing us supper, you can treat me to supper. Take it as repayment for giving you a place to stay. If you're living under someone else's roof, you should act like one. I'll treat you to supper tonight. With your lousy conditions, I still want to act like I'm living under someone else's roof? Dream on. It's more like you're treating me. I'm not hungry. I'm only accompanying you because I'm giving you face." Lin Ge said. Speaking of food, he was actually hungry. "Let's go. You lead the way. You're familiar with Beijing. Then let's make it clear first. It's my treat. You have to pay the bill. Otherwise I won't bring you," Ma Saner said stingily. While the two of them were still arguing about who should pay the bill, Bai Xiaoya had already driven away with Suyin. Bai Xiaoya wasn't familiar with Beijing, so she didn't know what to eat in Beijing. Name a place. Gui Street? Zixiao's hot pot is delicious and not expensive. The dishes can be divided into portions. Huda's spicy pork tendon is the specialty. It's spicy and chewy. Dalian Seafood Restaurant can satisfy your craving for seafood. Of course, they're all cheap seafood. There's also seafood dumplings and pot stickers. Everyone in Beijing knew about Suyin. All he had to do was tell the taxi driver about Gui Street, and the arrangements for the night were settled. "There's more," Bai Xiaoya said. "Introduce a few more places. Qingyan Restaurant in Hohai. They have authentic Saikung cuisine, accompanied by a thick layer of foreign culture. It's a restaurant frequented by the upstarts of Beijing's culture. After eating, you can continue drinking in the psychedelic tropical atmosphere. It's quite comfortable." Suyin touched his chin and thought for a while. Kong Yiji's dishes are not bad. It's very refreshing. Drunken prawns, kidney, broad beans, and egg yolk with pumpkin. They're all delicious. Oh, and stinky tofu. The best is the old yellow wine brewed by the restaurant. It's mellow and fragrant. After drinking it once, I can't drink the red wine in the shops anymore. Bai Xiaoya pursed her lips and smiled. It was a rare smile on this cold and elegant girl. "I didn't expect you to be a wine lover. People who like wine are all emotional people. It's more honest to make friends." Suyin said. "Of course. I'm not saying that people who don't drink can't make friends. There are also many emotional people who don't drink. What do you want to eat? I've already told you so many places. There must be a place you want to go, right?" Chapter 1066. Hot pot was definitely the specialty of the Northerners in winter. Of course, it was available all over the country. Even in the hottest summer, people would still indulge in the delicious taste of hot pot. Suyin couldn't believe that Bai Xiaoya had never eaten hot pot before. When she saw the charcoal being put into the stove, her eyes widened in surprise. Who invented this? It's so creative. Although I haven't eaten hot pot before, I've seen it before. Aren't they all induction cookers? This is a copper pot that looks like a wizard's hat. How creative. This is Yanjing hot pot. It's unique, right? I'll let you try it today. The taste is definitely different from induction cookers. Suyin. Take the instant boiled mutton for example. A 20-kilogram mutton can only be used for 6 to 7 kilograms of meat. Every kilogram of mutton has to be cut into at least 120 slices. And the thickness is less than 1 millimeter to ensure the freshness and smoothness of the meat. If the mutton isn't cut thin enough, it won't have that fresh and delicious texture. Do you see these? Sesame paste, sesame oil, braised prawn oil, soy sauce, chili oil, chives, coriander, cooking wine, and tofu curd. You can't do without any of them. Bai Xiaoya had seen it for herself. No wonder people said that huaxia was on the tip of the tongue. They were full of delicacies when it came to food. Putting aside the people from Guangshan who dared to stuff anything into their mouths, even the people from Yanjing were so particular about hot pot. Compared to America's hamburgers, huaxia's traditional dishes were the real delicacies. She really didn't understand why young people nowadays like to eat pizza and hamburgers. What was so good about them? It wouldn't cost much to have a proper Yanjing hot pot. It was much better than eating those fried junk food. Bai Xiaoya drove, so she didn't drink. Suyin also didn't have any intention of drinking. He asked for a bottle of sorghum wine as a form of rinsing his mouth. Eating hot pot was still the main point. Suyin picked up the mutton and dipped it in the boiling soup. Then he immediately put it on Bai Xiaoya's plate. Try it and see if it's fresh and tender enough. The essence of hot pot was dipping. If the mutton was boiled, it would not be eaten at all. Once the mutton was overcooked, it would not taste good. Bai Xiaoya got addicted after one bite. It was really delicious. How is it? You can't eat it normally, right? Suyin asked. Bai Xiaoya shook her head. Master is very particular about health and won't let me eat these things. Let me tell you, if Master knew that I secretly ate hot pot with you, he would definitely scold me. Health. Suyin was suddenly enlightened. No wonder Bai Xiaoya's skin looked so young and tender. And no wonder Zhuolengyue looked like a 27 or 28-year-old woman. It was all due to her good health. If Suyin guessed correctly, even Chu Zigua knew Zhuolengyue. She was also friends with his father, so she must be quite old. Nourishing one's health really wasn't a word that could be used to fool people. Suyin was curious. What do you guys eat for your health? Medicinal cuisine? What's medicinal cuisine? Bai Xiaoya was stunned and shook her head. Master and I eat lettuce every day, boiled potatoes, boiled tofu, boiled vegetables, boiled cabbage, boiled eggs. Suyin was speechless. In other words, you guys eat all kinds of tasteless things that are boiled in water all year round. Yes, Master said that eating oil and salt is not good for health. Although Bai Xiaoya said that, she kept eating the mutton with relish. Suyin swore that even if he brought her to eat a plate of sour and spicy shredded potatoes tonight, she would still think that it was a delicacy. No one could stand eating boiled food every day. What was the point of nourishing one's health? If eating these things could nourish one's health, make one young, and live for another 100 years, then eating these things would make one young and live for another 100 years. But for the extra 100 years of life, he would still have to eat plain boiled vegetables. If he had to eat plain boiled vegetables for another 100 years, he might as well not live. In any case, Suyin definitely wouldn't accept this way of nourishing one's health. However, he had to admit that this way of nourishing one's health was the real way of nourishing one's health. Don't tell me you grew up eating boiled vegetables? Suyin asked. Yes. Bai Xiaoya nodded. How pitiful. Suyin sighed. He suddenly realized that his life was still very good. At least, he still had soy sauce beef and braised pork ribs to eat during his childhood in the Dragon Brigade. Occasionally, the chef would even change his diet and make seafood soup. When did you start following your master? Suyin asked as he scooped some boiled vegetables from the hot pot for Bai Xiaoya. Bai Xiaoya thought for a while. I should have been with master since I could remember. 2 years old. 3 years old. Maybe 4 years old. I really can't remember. Master never mentioned it to me. How did she take you in? Suyun's curiosity was completely aroused. I don't know. Bai Xiaoya shook her head. My master never told me about me. If I asked, she would definitely ignore me or even throw a tantrum. Therefore, I didn't dare to ask after a long time. Therefore, I only remember what happened after I could remember. I received all kinds of training. When I was young, I didn't know anything and only knew how to cry. Only now do I know that master did it for my own good. Suyin was still silently picking up cooked food for Bai Xiaoya. This girl's background was similar to his. She was really pitiful. However, he was a man, and Bai Xiaoya was just a girl. How much psychological pressure did she have to endure to get to where she was today? You eat too. Don't just pick up food for me. After Bai Xiaoya put away her coldness, she still gave people a feeling of closeness. She also picked up some mutton for Suyin and put it on his plate. Don't just talk about me. Tell me about you too. What about you? How did you enter the Divine Dragon Brigade? You are also an orphan? Suyin nodded and then shook his head. I can't be considered an orphan. I was sent to the Dragon Brigade by my godfather. You have a godfather? Bai Xiaoya was surprised. I really envy you. I don't have anything except for my master. How is your godfather now? He passed away a long time ago. Su-Yun smiled slightly. Sometimes, the sadness in one's heart could only be concealed with a smile. Bai Xiaoye was stunned and said faintly, I'm sorry. It's nothing. I'm already used to it. Su-Yun said, however, my godfather's life was worth it. There's no one who doesn't admire him. Even my Shizhuan and our core have to call him Zhang Taisui. The glory of the old man's life was worth it. Zhang Taisui? Bai Xiaoye's mouth opened even wider. Your godfather is Taisui Zhang Jiaji? Su-Yun nodded. You've heard of him at such a young age? I've more than heard of him. Bai Xiaoye put down her chopsticks excitedly. My master even took me to Zhang Taisui's tombstone to pay my respects to him. My master was very respectful to Zhang Taisui, really. I won't lie to you. Chapter 1067. Su-Yun suddenly thought of a rather dangerous question. If he were to directly ask Zhuo Lengyue this question, he might really be in big trouble. Your master's age is... Bai Xiaoye put down her chopsticks, took a deep breath and sighed. I don't even dare to imagine. If you were to directly ask her this question, would you be beaten to a pulp? How old do you think she is? That's how old she is. She can't be only 27 or 28 years old. The Empress has been famous for so many years. She can't possibly be a supreme expert the moment she is born, right? Su-Yun said. The Empress Dowager passed away at 78 years old. Your master can't possibly be someone from the same generation as him, right? Don't let her hear this. If she hears this, you will definitely die miserably. Bai Xiaoye continued to eat the mutton. No one has ever dared to ask this question. Ever since I can remember, my master has always been so young and beautiful. After so many years, she still doesn't have a single strand of white hair, not a single wrinkle, and her skin has always been so tight and tender. Let me tell you, these are the benefits of maintaining one's health. I have never seen my master eat anything carelessly. Her food never contains oil, salt, soy sauce, vinegar or other condiments. Only the most natural food is the best. If I have to eat fruits and boiled vegetables for the rest of my life, I would rather eat until I become an old man in 50 years. Su-Yun said. You should enjoy life to the fullest. Don't let your gold goblet face the moon with nothing. Let's count it with our fingers. A short life lasts for 30,000 days. Every day counts. Bai Xiaoye raised her head and pondered for a moment before nodding thoughtfully. You'd better not brainwash me. If I change my outlook on life because of a meal, I'll definitely be scolded when I go back. You can live your carefree life, and I will live my life of austerity. Although we share the same fate, there is still a difference between the two of us. Does the Dragon Brigade eat anything? Of course. Ahem, let me tell you the details. Su-Yun cleared his throat. The Dragon Brigade had a gala every year. Qian Feng and Hua Xiaolu had once performed a crosstalk where they announced the names of dishes. Su-Yun had listened to them rehearse many times, so he picked it up. There's steamed lamb, steamed bear's paw, steamed deer tail, roasted duck, roasted chicken, roasted goose, roasted pig, roasted duck, soy sauce chicken, cured meat, songhua, tripe dried meat, sausages, assorted soup panner, smoked chicken white belly, steamed 8 treasures pig. Do you think I haven't heard crosstalk before? Who are you trying to fool? Bai Xiaoye was amused by Su-Yun's words. If I don't look at him with prejudice, he's not bad at all. Su-Yun laughed heartily. Although it's a bit outrageous to say that I'm reporting a menu, it's still quite a sumptuous meal. The amount of training he did every day was too much, and it consumed too much energy. If I don't replenish myself properly, I won't be able to hold on. I didn't replenish myself that much, but it's still the same, Bai Xiaoye said. Su-Yun, let's not joke around now. Can I really call you brother? Of course. Su-Yun put down his chopsticks. Even if you don't treat me as a brother, I'll treat you as a sister. Bai Xiaoye's face revealed a hint of undetectable shyness. She felt that this feeling was strange. Initially, she hated Su-Yun, but now she found him more and more pleasing to the eye. The change was too fast. However, ever since she found Su-Yun pleasing to the eye, she had an indescribable sense of intimacy with Su-Yun. This feeling made her feel very warm. Even if she wanted to be cold to him, she couldn't. Brother, thank you for eating hot pot with me tonight, Bai Xiaoya said. This is the best meal I've ever had in my life. It's also the most relaxing meal I've ever had in my life. In the future, if I call you, will you still eat hot pot with me? Su Yin nodded. Of course. When you want to improve your taste, just tell me. Although I'm not a world-famous chef, I've done a little research in cooking. Yanjing hot pot is a specialty, and so is a medicinal hot pot. However, this hot pot doesn't exist in Yanjing. If you want to eat the most authentic, I'll bring you to my own place and personally prepare the ingredients for you. Su Yin also had an inexplicable sense of intimacy with Bai Xiaoya. This feeling was hard to describe, but it was very special. Ever since Bai Xiaoya took off her sunglasses, Su Yin had an inexplicable feeling. You opened a hot pot restaurant? Bai Xiaoya's eyes almost popped out. Not really, Su Yin said. You'll find out in the future. In Bai Xiaoya's eyes, Su Yin suddenly became mysterious. There's still something I don't understand. You're obviously a member of the Dragon Brigade. Why are you hanging out with Ma San'er in Panjiayuan Garden? Could it be that Ma San'er is also? He's not a member of the Dragon Brigade. However, if the mystical Dragon Brigade needs him to step forward, he has always been very straightforward. Su Yin said, although Ma San'er looks unreliable, he's quite reliable. He's a good brother. I'm not curious about him. I'm curious about you. Since you're a member of the Dragon Brigade, why are you allowed to hang around outside? Bai Xiaoya asked. Is there no discipline to restrict you? Su Yin shrugged. There used to be, but not anymore. I was removed, but I was recalled for special reasons. So I'm a special product. I think you're more like a special talent. After eating hot pot, Bai Xiaoya exclaimed that it was delicious. Su Yin also drank some wine and was sweating. I'll send you back, Bai Xiaoya said. I hope we can meet again in the future. Definitely. Su Yin smiled. Bai Xiaoya sent Su Yin back to Panjiayuan Garden. Lin Ge and Ma San'er had already eaten supper and returned to sleep. They never thought that Su Yin would come back. Therefore, when Su Yin knocked on the door and woke them up, they didn't think much of it. Brother, what era is this? A girl asked you out for supper at midnight, and you actually came back after supper? Lin Ge said in surprise. I'm such a traditional person, but I can't believe it. Could it be your fast shooter? Ma San'er added. Fast your ass. Su Yin scolded jokingly. It's just supper. Don't think so much. What kind of person do you think I am? Am I that shameless? Ma San'er nodded like a chick pecking at rice. When he saw Su Yin raise his hand to hit him, he quickly shook his head. He still didn't understand. She's already sent herself to your door, and you're not even going to eat it. Aren't you being too disrespectful to Bai Xiaoya? This will make the girl feel inferior. You're really wasting her feelings. Don't joke about me and Bai Xiaoya. My feelings for her. How should I put it? I really treat her as my little sister, Su Yin explained. Forget it. Little sister. Little sister in love. Ma San'er didn't believe that there was a real friendship between men and women. In his eyes, there was no real relationship between men and women. Even if they got married, there was no love between them. It was just two similar people getting together to live together. If they weren't similar, then the woman was either a rich second generation hooking up with a rich man, or the man was a gigolo living off a woman. A man and a woman going out for supper in the middle of the night, unless they were relatives, must be related. You're talking about friends? Bullshit. Since they were friends, why didn't they go out for supper at midnight? Friends made in a mental hospital, right? Brother, now that you mention it, I really feel that Bai Xiaoya's eyes are a bit similar to yours. Lin Ge touched his chin. Ma San'er, think about it. Hey. Ma San'er slapped his thigh and looked at Su Yin's eyes. You don't say, it's really a bit interesting. Lin Ge wanted to gesture at the corners of Su Yin's eyes as he explained to Ma San'er in detail. What do you mean by a bit? Isn't it obvious? Chapter 1068. After sending Su Yin back to Pan Garden, Bai Xiaoya didn't go back directly. It was already so late, and even if she went back, her master would already be asleep. She might as well find a hotel room and go back the next day after waking up. Ever since her master let her go out alone, Bai Xiaoya began to see more and more of the world. She hadn't even seen many men before, so she didn't have any feelings for men. In the beginning, in her eyes, men were just a group of animals that didn't use the same bathroom as women. But as she came into contact with more people outside, she began to slowly realize what kind of animals men were. Most of the men she had seen were greedy, lustful, possessive, two-faced, sinister, and shrewd. Therefore, when Bai Xiaoya first saw Su Yun, although Su Yun's eyes didn't have the greed and desire of most men, she didn't classify him as lustful. But it was also because of this that Bai Xiaoya classified Su Yun as a sinister person. In her understanding of the world, she felt that if a man wasn't lustful, then he must have other plans. Of course, Su Yun did have other plans at that time. Su Yun's plan was the golden jade dress. However, the owner of the golden jade dress was so unexpected that Su Yun didn't know what to do. Otherwise, Su Yun would have really taken the jade dress and left. That way, Su Yun would forever be a despicable man in Bai Xiaoya's heart. The world was unpredictable. No one would think that one matter would involve another matter, and one person would involve many people. Bai Xiaoya took a shower and lay on the bed. She couldn't fall asleep for a long time. She was very surprised that a man's figure would appear in her mind when she was lying on the bed. Su Yun's figure seemed to be impossible to get rid of, making it difficult for Bai Xiaoya to fall asleep. However, after a tiring day, Bai Xiaoya eventually fell asleep. The next morning, Bai Xiaoya, who had enough rest, drove back to see her master. Zhuo Lingyue didn't say anything when she found out that Bai Xiaoya didn't return for the entire night. She understood her disciple well. Even if she didn't return for 3 to 5 days, she wouldn't do anything out of line. She must have her own reasons. For example, last night, it must have been because it was too late and he was too tired from driving. Little Yi, what do you think of Su Yun? Zhuo Lingyue suddenly asked. Bai Xiaoya was taken aback. She didn't know how to answer. Not bad, right? Not bad, right? Zhuo Lingyue was a bit surprised. If she remembered correctly, her favorite disciple hated Su Yun to the core yesterday. Any word or action from Su Yun would make Bai Xiaoya feel indignant. However, after just one night, Bai Xiaoya actually said that Su Yun was not bad? Zhuo Lingyue really suspected that she had heard wrong. She was already prepared to face her disciple's ridicule, but the answer she received was the opposite. This world was too magical. Young people's thoughts changed very quickly. Why do you think he's not bad? Zhuo Lingyue said. I think you hate him. Master, I did hate him at first. But now that I know his background is similar to mine, I don't think he's that annoying anymore. Bai Xiaoya explained. Oh right, I also heard something very shocking. If I tell you, you'll definitely be shocked. Zhuo Lingyue really didn't know what could scare her now, unless that person had escaped from the prison in Marty Franz Island. Otherwise, even if Dongying Island was sunk by nuclear weapons, Zhuo Lingyue would still not care about it. Let's hear it. I really want to know what can scare me. Zhuo Lingyue smiled. Usually, she would only smile like this in front of Bai Xiaoya. Su Yun's godfather is Zhang Taisui, the Zhang Yizhi you took me to pay respects to. Bai Xiaoya said, Master, this world is really small, and the fate between people is really subtle. I suddenly feel that Su Yun seems to have known me for a long time, as if I've seen him somewhere before. How could you have seen him somewhere before? Zhuo Lingyue suddenly stopped smiling. You've always been by my side since you can remember. I haven't seen that kid. Where did you see him? Don't think too much about it. Let me tell you, the world is unpredictable and dangerous. Whether you think Su Yun is a good person or not, you should stay away from him. This time, it was Bai Xiaoya's turn to be at a loss. Didn't her master praise Su Yun last night? She even seemed to like Su Yun very much. How did she change overnight? No, it wasn't just overnight, it was an instant change. When she mentioned Su Yun just now, she didn't have such emotions, right? Master, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Bai Xiaoya asked with concern. Why suddenly? What's there to be unwell about? Zhuo Lingyue said. Did you hear me clearly? Don't have any contact with Su Yin in the future. Master, I think he's a good person, Bai Xiaoye said. Zuoling Yue's face sank. After you sent them back last night, what did Su Yin say to you? What did you do? Oui. Bai Xiaoye's face was full of embarrassment. Zuoling Yue couldn't stay calm and stood up. What did you do? Why are you stammering? Speak. What did Su Yin do to you? Did he do that kind of thing to you? No. Bai Xiaoye's face turned red, all the way to her ears. Master, look at what you're talking about. There's nothing between us. It's just that I was greedy, so I broke my vow and ate hot pot with him. Hot pot. Zuoling Yue didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You ate hot pot with him last night? Other than that, you didn't do anything else, right? Of course not. No matter what, Bai Xiaoye was already 22 years old. She had heard a little about the affairs between men and women. I don't have that kind of feeling for Su Yin. I just felt that when we ate hot pot together yesterday, he was especially caring for me. It made me feel that he was like a big brother taking care of me. Zuoling Yue fell silent. She couldn't believe that Bai Xiaoye would have such feelings. What about Su Yin? What kind of feeling would Su Yin have? Would he treat Bai Xiaoye like a younger sister? Or could it be that Su Yin had other feelings? But no matter what kind of feelings they had, Zuoling Yue wouldn't allow it. She would never allow it. No one was allowed to be with anyone. Bai Xiaoye saw her master's sullen face and had no choice but to compromise. Master, if you don't want me to have any contact with Su Yin, then I won't have any contact with him. Anyway, there's nothing worth interacting with him on a daily basis. When we leave this place, we won't be able to see him anymore. Chapter 1069. Seeing Xiaoye's disappointment, Zuoling Yue couldn't bear it and pulled her into her arms. Xiaoye, I know what you're thinking. All girls have their first awakening of love. At your age, you're bound to fall in love. Master was the same back then. But you have to believe me. I hope you can find an ordinary person in the future. Do you understand? You definitely can't be with Su Yin. There are too many men in this world, but very few of them are worthy of our trust. If you want to fall in love, you have to keep your eyes open. You'll understand some things when you're more mature. Master is saying all this for your own good. Master, why do you always emphasize this point? Bai Xiaoye didn't understand. Why do you target Su Yin so much? Moreover, I've never thought of falling in love with him. But you also said that most men in the world aren't worthy of our trust. I suddenly feel that Su Yin is someone worthy of my trust. Xiaoye. Zuoling Yue's expression suddenly became serious. Bai Xiaoye nodded and said, Okay, master, I've promised you. I won't see him again forever. No matter what. Xiaoye understands that the person who treats me the best in this world, the person who will never harm me, is only master. Sooner or later, you'll find a very, very outstanding person who treats you better than master. You'll spend the rest of your life with him. Zuoling Yue said, Xiaoye, master will definitely help you. I won't let anyone who can't give you eternal happiness disturb you. I don't want you to be like master. You're a good child, and will definitely find happiness. Bai Xiaoye felt that her master was very strange today. Whether it was her words or her mental state, they were all very strange. However, Bai Xiaoye didn't know how to ask. It seemed that Su Yin had broken all order. Even her master, who had always been calm, seemed to have become a different person. Zuoling Yue had quit drinking for more than 20 years. Today, she locked herself in her room and opened a bottle of red wine that had been stored in a famous winery in France for a long time. The fragrance assailed her nostrils and made Zuoling Yue fall into her own memories. There were too many things that she had lied to herself for too long. Therefore, even if it was a fabricated fact, she could still treat it as the real thing. That was how deceit worked. When you repeatedly emphasized that a lie was true, you would think that the lie was true. However, if the lie was emphasized as true for more than 20 years, it would no longer be a lie. It would become a fact that was justified by the heavens and the earth. After so many years, Zuoling Yue had already treated his deceit as a complete lie instead of a deceit. However, Su Yun's appearance had disrupted everything. This person, whom she had always kept abreast of the current situation through certain special channels, had actually met her because of the jade dress. Su Yun Taisui was Zhang Jianji's adopted son. Yanlong, the instructor of the Dragon Fury team who was cultivated by Wan Guangxiao and Wang Yi in the Dragon Brigade. He was betrayed by his superiors in a mission, and was almost destroyed due to his inner demons. Now he appeared in the Dragon Brigade in a brand new high position. Zhuo Lingyue had heard about all of this. It was very easy for her to know all of this. Taisui was Zhang Jianji's adopted son. He was the son of the man who was locked up in the 5th floor of the Mardi Franz Island. Su Yun might not know that he was that man's son. However, too many people knew this fact. Not only Wan Guangxiao and Wang Yi knew Su Yun's real identity, but also Wu Qiuzi Gu Zueran, evil god Lu Xuanji who lived in seclusion in the Caribbean island, Jin Guoi, the head of the Yen School's Flying Daggers, Wine Sword immortal Xian Yuanji, the founder of the Hunters School who shocked the underground world, Gu Magpie, Lu Xinyu and Su Yueling. All of them, who could shake the underground world by stamping their feet, knew Su Yun's real identity. It seemed that only Su Yun himself didn't know his real identity. It was impossible for Zhang Jianji to tell Su Yun's father's background to him. And it was even more impossible for Wan Guangxiao and Wang Yi to tell Su Yun about this. Therefore, it was impossible for Su Yun to know anything about his father. That legendary man moved Zhuo Lingyue with only one meeting more than 20 years ago. At that time, she, who was known as the #1 beauty in the underground world, was so cold and arrogant. Her beauty, her strength, her temperament, and everything about her made people feel that she was unattainable. She was the ultimate goddess who had always been high above the masses and looked down on everything. She was the woman who had made countless heroes bow down to her. However, she herself had fallen into that man's gentleness. He was handsome, he was carefree, he was merry, he was unrestrained, he was chivalrous, he was both good and evil. There were countless rumors about him, and all the major things he had done were subject to great controversy. Even when he was locked up in the Mardi Franz Island prison for serious criminals, there were all kinds of legends in the underground world. Some people said that it was the warden who brought all the masters of Mardi Franz Island to bring him down. Some people said that even if there were 2 more wardens, it was impossible for them to deal with him. It was he who saw through everything and asked to be locked up to atone for some of the crimes he had committed over the years. There were all kinds of rumors, which filled the whole world. However, Su Yun, who was only 2 or 3 years old at that time, had no memory of this at all. Because the man who was the father almost never showed his face after he handed the child to Zhang Jianji. Of course, there were also all kinds of rumors. It was because Su Yun's mother had an accident when she gave birth to him, and left this world forever. Some people said that he had no time to care about his son, because he was looking for a famous doctor, who could bring the dead back to life. Others said that his wife died because she gave birth to this child, so he hated his son and didn't want to see him. After his wife died, he did more and more things that were hard to distinguish between right and wrong. Moreover, he became more and more inseparable from wine and women. It was under that condition that he met Zhuo Lingyue. However, Zhuo Lingyue knew that although she was the #1 goddess in the underground world at that time, in his eyes she would never be able to catch up with his dead wife. Endless memories were like sharp knives, mercilessly stabbing into Zhuo Lingyue's heart. Bai Xiaoye was her and that man's daughter. She was an innocent life born after that man was imprisoned. For so many years she refused to admit that she was a mother, not because of herself, but because she was worried that once Xiaoye asked about her father, she wouldn't know how to answer. Bai Xiaoye didn't have the surname Su because Zhuo Lingyue didn't want to think about anything about him. However, Zhuo Lingyue didn't expect that Bai Xiaoye and Su Yun would meet each other by chance. Moreover, after meeting twice, they already had that kind of kinship. Was this the mystery of blood relations? Su Yun was that man's son. Although he had nothing to do with Zhuo Lingyue, she had always secretly known about Su Yun. Fate really made fools of people. Chapter 1070. The Japanese ninjas' operation in Huaxia had failed, and the news quickly reached Impei's ears. 91 ninja elites above the level of Chunin were all wiped out on the first night they entered Huaxia. Not a single one was left alive. All of them died without a burial ground. Moreover, it didn't even cause a ripple in Huaxia before it was quietly eliminated. This was the news that the spies who had been lurking in Huaxia for a long time brought to Enpei. Enpei was shocked. He could not believe what kind of person Huaxia was. What kind of method did they use to silently eliminate a group of Japanese ninja experts without a single soldier? This world was too crazy. Could it be that he, Enpei, was destined to pay the price for his military ambitions? He was destined to pay a painful and huge price for this. If he could choose again, he would definitely be an obedient grandson and do what a defeated country should do. He would sincerely kneel down and apologize to the people of Huaxia and their ancestors. Think about it. If the Japanese did not go to their Yasukuni shrine every year to pay respects to those Class A war criminals who were stained with the blood of the people of Huaxia, but respectfully went to Huaxia's monument of the people's heroes every year to sincerely apologize, what would the relationship between the two countries be like now? The people of Huaxia are all descendants of the dragon, the descendants of the Yellow Emperor. They will not be petty enough to fuss over the mistakes made by your Japanese ancestors. Sincere remorse and apology can make the children of Huaxia forgive you. Of course, history is still history. Every child of Huaxia will still remember it in their hearts. Our magnanimity is not to fuss over it too much with you. However, the premise for a country as great as China to be magnanimous is that Japan must sincerely apologize and recognize history, and not blindly try to destroy evidence and the baptism of time to forget history, and spread shameless words about East Asia's common prosperity and prosperity. This kind of statement that destroys history is simply an insult to the intelligence of the millions of people of Huaxia. Only those who are extremely brainless will believe your nonsense. Enpei sat on the sofa in a daze, looking at the chandelier on the ceiling in a daze. His mind was blank. Lao Mei was urging him to find Kevin Matthew in Huaxia as soon as possible, but now he was at his wit's end. It's over, it's completely over. He would no longer have the support of his godfather in America. The people's opinions of him were so great. He was afraid that he would not be far from the day he lost control of Japan. A Su Dalong walked in without even knocking on the door. Prime Minister, the trash you sent out didn't have any effect. I'm afraid the Americans can't wait any longer. Didn't your father teach you what manners are? One had to knock on the door before entering. Do you understand? Enpei scolded angrily. He vented all his anger on a Su Dalong. He could hear the excitement in the Deputy Prime Minister's voice. As long as Enpei stepped down, a Su Dalong would have a chance to replace him. A Su Dalong did not show any fear in the face of Enpei's anger. Prime Minister, it's meaningless to lose your temper at this time. I advise you to focus on how to solve the problem. You can yell at me. If it can solve the problem, then yell at me. But if it can't, then calm down. It's not worth it to hurt your health. You're still young. If you get seriously ill because of these things, then it won't be worth it. Enpei was angered by a Su Dalong's provocative words. But a Su Dalong was right. He was now forced into a desperate situation. If he did not adjust himself, sooner or later his heart and lungs would explode and he would die. If he died like that, wouldn't a Su Dalong get what he wanted? Enpei took a deep breath and tried to calm himself down. So don't worry. I'm in good health. I'm afraid this small matter won't kill me. I and Enpei have achieved what I have today. Even if I die, I will leave my name in history. A Su Dalong's lips curled into a disdainful smile. Leave your name in history? With the things you've done, it's impossible for you to leave your name in history. Unless you do something even more disgusting, it's possible for you to leave your name in history. Prime Minister, you will definitely leave your name in history. However, before you think about this problem, you should answer the call from the United States. I think there are some things that you need to explain in person. I'm afraid we can't make the decision. A Su Dalong stood up and said, however, before you think about this problem, you should answer the call from the United States. Enpei's face changed. He did not expect the United States to call so soon. A call from the United States Godfather, the Department of National Defense's Special Intelligence Bureau, made Enpei uneasy. Some of his dealings with the United States were absolutely shameful. If others knew that he was such a loyal dog of the United States, he would lose face as the Prime Minister of Japan. Have you found him? The other party's question was simple and clear. Enpei only knew the name of the person on the other end of the phone, but he did not know how mysterious the other party's identity was. Don't worry, I will do my best to find Kevin Matthew as soon as possible. From the way Enpei spoke English, it showed that he was obedient to the other party. Please give me some more time. I will deal with this matter as quickly as possible. I will definitely not let you down. As quickly as possible? Why did I hear that the people you arranged were all wiped out in Yenjing on the same day? Enpei, I hope you can treat this matter seriously. If Huaxia gets Kevin Matthew, their military strength will increase by leaps and bounds in a short period of time. With Huaxia's current military strength, they already have the possibility of contending with us, although their military equipment is still a level lower than ours. But they have the most terrifying special forces in the world. The most terrifying special forces. You should know this. Once Kevin Matthew joins Huaxia's military research and development, Huaxia's military strength will be even stronger. In addition, they have the most terrifying special forces. We will no longer have any advantage when facing them. Do you understand? Enpei, you have to be clear about your identity. We will support you in your dongying. That is because you need to be in East Asia to restrain Huaxia. If you are no longer able to restrain Huaxia, your government, and your country will be worthless to us. Do you think we're going to back a worthless country? Don't be too naive. I will do my best. Enpei wanted to kowtow to this phone call. You are on your own. The phone call was hung up with a click. Enpei's mind buzzed. He was about to completely collapse. All kinds of pressure from all sides was almost unbearable for him. What should he do? Who could help him? Enpei was very clear that he was already riding a tiger. If he could not appease the tiger, he would only end up being eaten. Obviously, the tiger in the United States was furious. If he did not do something, if he did not feed the tiger, then he would become the tiger's food. Chapter 1071. Ever since Su Yin realized that Lao Meizi's National Defense Intelligence Agency was certain that Kevin Matthew had left the country and arrived in Huaxia, he had tried to contact Gu Qia many times. The Great Circle would inevitably be involved in unnecessary trouble. Therefore, Su Yin was very worried about Gu Qia, Gu Guolong, and the Chinese in the Great Circle. However, Su Yin was unable to get in touch with Gu Qia several times. Whether it was her personal cell phone or the satellite phone on the military ship, Su Yin was unable to contact Gu Qia. Su Yin knew very well how ominous this feeling was. However, he could not rush to Canada to find out what was going on. Because once the Americans had their eyes on the Great Circle, Su Yin would definitely not be able to escape the eyes of the American Intelligence Agency. If Su Yin flew to Canada now, he would definitely be surrounded by the American Intelligence Agency on the spot. Not to mention whether Su Yin could get rid of Lao Meizi's equally well-trained agents. Even if he could get rid of them, who could he find to inquire about the situation in the Great Circle? Who could he find to ask about Gu Qia's situation? If he did not want to have a direct confrontation with the American Intelligence Agency's agents, Su Yin would have to give up on the plane and go by sea instead. Su Yin believed that Ma San'er definitely had familiar connections who could send him to the Canadian merchant ship that stopped at Tianjin harbor to secretly smuggle him out. However, it would take more than 10 days to travel by sea. Even if Su Yin rushed over, by the time he reached Vancouver, it would definitely be too late. It would be meaningless. Instead of doing something so meaningless, it was better to deal with the matter at hand first. The matter at hand would never be settled. Su Yin was very clear about this. He tried to call Gu Qia again, but there was still no response. He didn't know how Wan Guangxiao and Kevin Matthew were doing. Ever since Kevin Matthew was taken away, even Su Yin didn't have any news about him. Although Su Yin was angry at Kevin Matthew for using him, they were still brothers after all. After all, Kevin Matthew did give Su Yin a lot of help before. Su Yin owed Kevin Matthew too many favors. Even if he was used once, it would not be a loss. Moreover, This question wasn't about whether he was losing or not. Even though Kevin Matthew had used Soo-Yun, he still treated Soo-Yun as a brother. Soo-Yun knew this very well. However, in this situation, Soo-Yun really couldn't intervene. He could only hope that Kevin Matthew could really figure out what he should do to show the value of his life. Some things couldn't be explained clearly by others. They had to be understood by oneself. As for how to understand it, it was up to oneself. Suddenly, the phone rang and interrupted Soo-Yun's thoughts. He casually picked up the phone and said absent-mindedly, "Hello. Soo-Yun, it's me." On the other end of the phone, Gu Chia's voice was nervous and helpless. Soo-Yun looked like he was struck by lightning. "Where are you? I tried to contact you for so many days, but I couldn't reach you. How are you now? Are you in danger? What the hell is going on?" Gu Chia's voice was full of pain and hatred. Why? Why did the American intelligence agency's agents find trouble with the Great Circle? Who is Kevin Matthew? Soo-Yun, I only hope that you can explain to me clearly. Are you just using me and the Great Circle? I'm sorry. Soo-Yun panicked. It was over. His guess was right. In the end, they had implicated the Great Circle and the Gu family. This was definitely not what he had expected from the start. He definitely didn't do it on purpose. If he had known that things would become so serious, he definitely wouldn't have brought Kevin Matthew back to Huaxia. Even if he would be scolded by him, Soo-Yun would never repeat the same mistake. However, what was done was done. What was done couldn't be undone. Since it had already happened, there was no medicine for regret. I definitely didn't mean to use you, Matthew, and I didn't expect things to become so serious. Soo-Yun said apologetically, when I realized that the American intelligence agency's agents might find trouble with the Great Circle, I tried to get in touch with you, but I couldn't reach you. You didn't expect it? Gu Chia said. Do you know? The American intelligence agency's agents started investigating the Great Circle the day after I brought you out to sea. I didn't even have the chance to go back to Vancouver to see what happened. I couldn't get in touch with my family. The last news I heard was that they were all taken away by the CIA's agents. You weren't in Vancouver? Soo-Yun heaved a sigh of relief. This was definitely great news for him. Gu Chia's voice was full of ridicule. Vancouver? I returned after sending you to the high seas border of Huaxia. On the way back, we passed by Japan, and were surrounded by the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force and the Maritime Security Office. They surrounded us for 3 whole days. Do you know? My men are all dead. Paul and the others are all dead. They were all shot by the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. We used up the last bullet. But after all, we only had these few people. The Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force was a well-trained army. Other than not being an army in name, they were no different from a regular army in everything. They had the advantage in numbers and finally forced us into a corner. Soo-Yun's heart felt like it was being ruthlessly squeezed. He could understand Gu Chia's feelings because he had also been forced into a corner. In order to protect me and allow me to escape in the sea during the chaos, Paul and the others mobilized all the speedboats and let our brothers, who didn't have a single bullet, use the speedboats to crash into the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force's warships. After the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force's attention was diverted, I was forced into the sea by Paul to escape, and he actually drove his boat to crash into the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force's main warship. Gu Chia said. Do you know what he told me? He said that during the Yellow Sea War, there was a national hero called Deng Shichang. He was the one who drove the Ziyuan warship to crash into the Japanese pirate ship and perish together. Although he wasn't from Huaxia, he looked down on the Japanese's shamelessness. The result was needless to say. Soo-Yun also knew that Paul and the rest of the mercenaries had probably all been sacrificed. They used their own actions to prove their mission as mercenaries. Even if they died, there was nothing to be afraid of. For their mission, no matter what price they had to pay, it was worth it. Where are you? I'll go and find you immediately. Soo-Yun could easily imagine Gu Chia's situation. Although she had been with the sea all year round, the sea was ruthless. No matter how familiar a person was, they could be swallowed by it. I'm on a small island in the south of Japan. According to my observations, this island should be called Nakajima. I'm at a place called Tianbua Hot Spring. Gu Qia said. Suyin, I don't want you to help me with anything. I just need you to help me contact my father. Contact the people in our big circle. I will. After I find you, I'll definitely help you find your father. Suyin said. Wait for me at Tianbua Hot Spring in Nakajima. I'll rush over as soon as possible. Before I get there, you must protect yourself. Trust me, the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force will definitely investigate your escape. Don't let them find you. Chapter 1072. Gu Qia was trapped in Japan's Tenbo Hot Spring. Suyin didn't know much about Japan. After all, there were too many small islands in Japan. He quickly checked the satellite map of Japan. As Gu Qia said, the island at the southern end of Japan was definitely not Osaka's Nakajima, but Kagoshima's Nakajima. It was a relatively large island in the Tokala Islands, north of the Ryukyu Islands. No matter how big this island was, it was only the size of a palm. There were probably less than 200 residents on the entire island. It was equivalent to a small village in Huaxia. It wasn't even as big as a small village, and had a large population. Gu Qia was trapped on such a small island. Once the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force found her, they would be able to find her in less than an hour. After all, this kind of primitive island didn't have a place to hide in a bustling city. Even Gu Qia could only identify her location with a sign that said Nakajima's Tenbo Hot Spring. Suyin didn't have time to wait. If he wanted to save Gu Qia, he had to fight against time. He had to find Gu Qia before the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force found her. Suyin couldn't care less about the **T rules. After printing the map and coordinates of Nakajima, Suyin slapped it in front of Lin Gu. What's the fastest way to get to this island? What's the fastest way to get there? Lin Gu was stunned by Suyin's sudden attack. Why did he take out a map to the southern islands of Japan? Brother, are you going on a trip? I'm not going to Japan, even if I'm going on a trip. I'm going to generate revenue for Japan. Suyin. Don't talk so much nonsense. Gu Qia was forced to escape to Nakajima by the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. We don't have much time now. What? Lin Gu was taken aback. King Little Japanese Devil. They actually dared to lay their hands on Sister Gu. Were they tired of living? Lin Gu studied the map carefully and asked, Brother, are Paul and the others okay? With them around, Sister Gu shouldn't be in any danger, right? This was a topic that Suyin really didn't want to talk about. Paul's mercenary group was made up of a bunch of hot-blooded men. It was really a pity that they were harmed by the Japanese just like that. I'm afraid that things are not looking good for them. How could this be? Lin Gu was dumbfounded. He finally realized the urgency of the situation, and understood why Suyin was so anxious. Everything will naturally become clear once we reach our destination. Suyin. Now is not the time to be distracted by these things. If we don't save Gu Qia, Paul's sacrifice will be in vain. It's definitely impossible to fly over. It takes time to complete the visa procedures, Lin Gu said. Unless we barge in directly from the sea, that might be faster. Suyin's tone was unusually firm. Then let's barge in. Then let's go now. It takes 2.5 hours to fly from Yanjing to Xinjiang. But I'm afraid there are no flights now. It's too sudden, brother. Lin Gu said. It's a 1,200 kilometers highway back. If we rush through the night and speed up as much as possible, it will take at least 8 to 9 hours. There's still a chance that we can make it back to Xinjiang by tomorrow morning. Xinjiang should be the closest to Zhongdao in a straight line. According to the map, it should be more than 430 nautical miles away, which is about 800 kilometers away. If we drive the motorboat faster, we should be able to reach more than 100 kilometers per hour. It will take more than 7 hours to reach Zhongdao. Suyin's brows furrowed even tighter. In other words, if we leave now and chase after the time without stopping, it will take us until tomorrow evening to reach Zhongdao, Lin Gu said seriously. Tomorrow evening, Suyin was really worried that Gu Qia would not be able to hold on until then. After all, The Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force was not to be trifled with. Their inspection speed would definitely be very fast. Once they reached the island, it would mean that Guchia was directly in a desperate situation. Let's go. Let's go immediately, Su Yun said firmly. It was already past midnight. Ma San'er was still sleeping comfortably when he was directly awakened by Su Yun's roar. Aya, why are you guys yelling in the middle of the night? What can't you talk about tomorrow morning? Let me tell you, it's also against the law to make people die from noise. Do you know what the noise law is? It's a crime to disturb people. Ma San'er will have to trouble you during this period of time. Su Yun did not wait for Ma San'er to finish speaking and gave Ma San'er a piece of great news. We have urgent matters to attend to, so we'll leave first. When we have time, we'll definitely come back and treat you to a Manchu-Han imperial feast. Ma San'er was instantly energized. He smiled like a flower blooming on his face. Really? Hee, that's great. Then I won't send you off. Have a safe journey, haha. Speaking of sending off guests, Ma San'er was much happier. He could finally sleep alone at night again. Even if it was a Japanese porn, he could still be free. He did not have to worry about this and that anymore. Is there a host like you? Once you hear that you're sending off guests, you're happier than a brothel girl. Lin Ge was speechless. If you're like this, we'll still stay at your place when we come to Beijing in the future. Ma San'er's scalp went numb. The next time you come to Beijing, you must inform me in advance. I'll pay for you to stay in a 5-star hotel. Is that okay? Give me some personal space. I'm already at the age of dating. I actually don't want you to leave, but there's no other way. Moi, have a safe journey. I won't send you off. F***ck. Su Yun and Lin Ge almost vomited from Ma San'er's coquettishness and cuteness. A big guy who was close to 30 years old playing cute with you. Only a hardcore person would be able to bear it. The car had just entered the highway toward Xinjiang, and Su Yun quickly accelerated to 200 miles per hour. Although this was against the law, there was a speed limit on the highway. But now Su Yun had no other choice. Most people who often drove on the highway were like Su Yun. They had electronic dogs in their cars, and they would only slow down when there were surveillance cameras. For this kind of high-performance luxury car, 200 miles per hour wasn't a problem at all. It was very stable. The car went all the way south. In order to maintain concentration and spiritual power, Su Yun and Lin Ge switched drivers after 2 hours. When the sky was slightly bright, they were less than 3 hours away from Xinjiang. Su Yun then dialed Yi Fala's phone. Yeezy, are you awake? It's indeed a bit early, but I'm also preparing to get up and do some yoga. I'll sleep later. Yi Fala said. What's wrong? Do you have any instructions? There's something I need to trouble you with. Su Yun said embarrassedly. I'll reach Xinjiang in 3 hours. I need a slightly bigger motorboat that can seat at least 3 people. The faster the better. Yi Fala knew that as long as Su Yun asked, it must be something important. And let me think who has an okay. No problem, leave it to me. When you reach Xinjiang, come directly to the yacht club. I'll prepare it for you here and wait for you. Easy. Su Yun, thank you. Don't give me that. Yi Fala snorted. She owed Su Yun, and she couldn't pay him back no matter what. If it wasn't for Su Yun, how could she have the freedom she had now? Drive slowly. Safety first. Rushing won't solve the problem, understand? Chapter 1073. Because they were at sea, Lin Ge had to drive the 400 nautical miles. Therefore, even if Lin Ge asked to switch driving with Su Yun didn't agree. For the next 3 hours, Su Yun drove. Lin Ge knew why Su Yun did this, so he closed his eyes to rest and did what he needed to do. Finally, the two of them arrived at Xinjiang's yacht club before 9 o'clock. Yi Fala had already prepared a speedboat for them through his connections. He was a famous rich second generation in Xinjiang. Because he would go to Xingkai Hotel's top-floor lounge to drink every week, his relationship with Yi Fala could be considered quite close. Yi Fala still had some face in the upper-class circle. Therefore, when he opened his mouth to ask, the other party gave him a lot of face. He immediately lent Yi Fala his most powerful and favorite small speedboat. This speedboat definitely wouldn't be a problem for 3 people to sit on. Moreover, its top speed could actually reach 180 kilometers per hour. It was absolutely ridiculous. As long as Lin Ge could drive this well-configured speedboat, then Su Yun and the others could possibly reach Zhongdao within 4 hours. Su Yun's heart was comforted. The earlier they arrived, the more advantageous it would be. How is it? Can you drive it? Su Yun asked. Lin Ge nodded. It's not a problem. 180 kilometers per hour is definitely an extremely high speed on the sea. However, luckily, I once played on a speedboat known as the F1 on the water. That thing's top speed is over 200 kilometers per hour. It's definitely awesome. If Lin Ge could drive over 200 kilometers per hour, then this definitely wouldn't be a problem. Su Yun immediately made a decision. Let's go. Yifala still didn't know what happened. Where are you guys going? Why are you in such a hurry? Yizi, I'll explain to you when I come back. There's really no time now, Su Yun said. You're in such a hurry. You must not have eaten. After Yifala finished speaking, he passed them some fast food hamburgers that he had bought along the way. No matter what it is, you'll only have strength after eating. You're not worried about going out like this, but I'm worried that the pigeons will faint from hunger when they set sail. Lin Ge didn't stand on ceremony with Yifala. He was really hungry. He took the food and stuffed it into his mouth. Only when one was full would one have the strength to work. Of course, he understood this simple logic. Brother Yin, you should eat something too. Su Yun and Lin Ge had replenished their energy after staying up all night with burger and Red Bull. After eating and drinking, Lin Ge thought of another problem. Speedboats were generally not used for long-distance voyages. Sister Yezi, how much fuel can this tank go? The deck of the speedboat can be opened. There is spare gasoline inside. Everything has been prepared for you. Urala said. I knew that once you guys went out to sea, it definitely wouldn't be a short distance. However, with all this oil added up, you should be able to run at least 500 nautical miles, right? Is that enough? It wasn't a problem to go out, but it wouldn't be able to support a round trip. However, this was definitely a number that exceeded their expectations. It seemed that the space under the speedboat wasn't small. It could store so much fuel. Then we'll go, Su Yun said. Be careful on the road. The only thing Yifala could do was pray. If she could leave Xinjiang, she would definitely go with Su Yun and the others. In Su Yun's eyes, Yifala could see that something big must have happened. Otherwise, Su Yun wouldn't have such an anxious look. Lin Ge was quite familiar with all kinds of boats and speedboats. He got the hang of it quickly. The speedboat was like a white stripe in the waves. It rode the wind and broke through the waves, leaving only the rolling foam of the waves. Within a minute, it disappeared from Yifala's sight. Sister Yezi, this is the person who can make you serve your sentence outside prison. A tall figure walked over. It was Zhou Wanjia, the owner of the speedboat. He was the heir of the Zhou family, one of the 4 major families in Xinjiang. As expected, he doesn't look simple. Yifala was startled. She thought that Zhou Wanjia had left. You didn't leave? Elder sister, I'm only lending you this boat because of your face. I want to see what kind of person can make elder sister Yi speak, Zhou Wanjia said. No matter what, this boat is worth at least 2 coins, right? If I don't see who drove it, I won't be at ease. Oh, it's just a speedboat worth tens of millions. Young Master Zhou, you still care about it? Even if you open a bottle of wine at my bar, it'll cost more than 1 million. Yifala said, don't worry, the boat will be brought back to you in perfect condition. If you lose it, I'll compensate you with a new one. Zhou Wanjia laughed. Sister, that's a private custom-made one. How are you going to compensate me? With you? Don't talk nonsense with me. You even dare to take advantage of Sister Yezi? Yifala glared at Zhou Wanjia. Let's go back to Xinkai with me. I'll open a bottle for you. I won't let you lend me your boat for free. Don't worry. I must drink Sister Yezi's precious red wine. Zhou Wanjia said. Don't talk about borrowing the boat. Even if you lend it to me, it'll be worth it. Yifala had a good impression of Zhou Wanjia. It wasn't because this kid was good with words, but because this kid was really talented. Moreover, he was different from the other super-rich kids. He had his own ideals and ambitions. He had his own goals to pursue. Of course, he was the same as the other super-rich kids. He liked to spend money. Squandering money like dirt was their common characteristic. Of course, he was the same as the other super-rich kids. He had a special hobby. However, he definitely wasn't the kind of person who pursued a black fungus every night or a green tea bitch every 3 days. It was because Yi Fala knew this kid's hobby that she got closer to him. She wasn't worried that he had other motives. Xinjiang was a big city. There were all kinds of talents. Sister Yezi, can I make a small request? Zhou Wenjia said. Say it. Yi Fala glanced at Zhou Wenjia. Zhou Wenjia looked at the speedboat that had long disappeared. Wait for my boat to come back. I'll make an appointment. Everyone can have a meal together, chat, and make friends. What are you up to? Let me tell you, Su Yin isn't gay. Yi Fala said. Don't you dare have any ideas about him. Do you understand? I'll only warn you this once. Annoying Sister Yezi. I didn't mean that. Zhou Wenjia said. It's just making friends. Am I such a desperate person? Yi Fala looked at Zhou Wenjia helplessly. I think you really are. Once a person's charm was great, they wouldn't only attract the opposite sex. Sometimes, they would also make the same sex fall head over heels for them. If Su Yin knew about this, would he vomit blood? If Zhou Wenjia wanted to make friends with him, there would definitely be room for discussion. If he dared to say that he wanted Su Yin to be his gay friend, Su Yin would definitely chop him up. Yi Fala could only thank Zhou Wenjia for his generosity with good wine. After all, she didn't even have a motorboat after she was imprisoned. However, Zhou Wenjia's taste was very tricky. Whatever 82 Lafite was trash in his eyes. Only the truly good wines from Yefala's collection could enter his mouth. Chapter 1074. Driving at a speed of 180 km per hour on the sea was completely different from driving at a speed of 100 km per hour. As long as the performance of a car was good, you wouldn't feel dizzy even if it reached 200 km per hour. Basically, a car that could be sold for 500,000 yuan could reach 200 km per hour. Even the Audi A6 and BMW 5 Series on the streets wouldn't have a problem. They wouldn't feel dizzy or tremble even if they reached 200 km per hour. Even the Golf GTI or Focus ST, which had a performance of 200,000 yuan, could easily exceed 200 km per hour. However, a boat was different. Let alone 200 miles per hour, it was already very bumpy when it exceeded 100 km per hour. It was normal to float. After all, a speedboat was supposed to float on the water. Lin Ge might not be able to compete with Su Yin in terms of cars, but when it came to boats, the two of them were definitely not on the same level. With a speed of 180, if it were Su Yin, the boat would have capsized long ago. Exciting, absolutely exciting. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't even be sure of Gu Qia's basic safety, Su Yin would definitely experience this excitement carefully. But now he really wasn't in the mood to enjoy this kind of excitement. Although Lin Ge knew about boats and was quite skilled in controlling the speedboat, he was still very cautious. After all, the speedboat was a small boat. If he didn't handle it well, it would cause the boat to capsize. Driving the boat and observing the GPS coordinates to determine the direction, he couldn't be careless. Su Yin didn't disturb Lin Ge and let him focus on dealing with all the situations at sea. All he could do was trust and trust. The closer the speedboat was to Japan's Nakajima, the thinner Lin Ge felt. The speed of the speedboat could cause a lot of noise. Once it attracted the attention of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force, it would be troublesome. However, their luck was surprisingly good. When they entered Japan's waters, they were not discovered by anyone. Only a few Japanese fishing boats were shocked by their violent driving speed and broke out in cold sweat. They were about to reach Nakajima, but Lin Ge suddenly slowed down the speed of the speedboat. Because the Japanese flag, which looked like a used sanitary napkin, was flying on a destroyer not far away. Obviously, this was the destroyer of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. And this ship was docked at the destination of Su Yun's expedition, Middle Island. This small island with a population of less than 200 people was too easy to search the entire island. Guchiya was in danger. Brother, it's the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Forces ship. Lin Gu frowned. What should we do? Since it's too late to sneak him away, there's only one way left. Su Yin took a deep breath. Without waiting for Su Yin to speak, Lin Gu already knew. He nodded heavily and prepared to charge at full speed. Don't break the boat, we still need it to go back. You're in charge of attracting their attention. I'll go to the island to look for them. Su Yin ordered. Let's go. The speedboat buzzed, like a ferocious monster. It rushed directly to the middle island. The high-profile speedboat instantly attracted the attention of the members on the Japanese ship. The loudspeaker immediately began to warn them in unpleasant Japanese. However, this was the territorial waters of Japan. Su Yun's ship was only a speedboat, so it wouldn't be attacked by any exaggerated artillery. But because they didn't listen to the warning and went on a rampage, the Japanese naturally wouldn't allow them to be unreasonable. They immediately released their speedboats to chase after them. Because Lin Ji's speed was fast enough, they were able to stop the speedboat before the enemy could chase after them. Su Yin also used the fastest time to get to the island. Lin Gu took advantage of the fact that the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force hadn't caught up to him, and started the speedboat again. Today he wanted to see what these scumbags could do to him. Lin Gu. I'm going to play with you guys. The Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force arranged a total of 8 motorboats and 4 speedboats to chase after them. Soon, Lin Gu let them taste the consequences of underestimating the enemy. In the face of Lin Ji's high-speed attack, the motorboats were simply blocking a car with one arm. Just the waves created by it were enough to overturn the Japanese's motorboats. The 4 speedboats were a little overconfident, thinking that they could easily control Lin Gu. Unexpectedly, Lin Gu wasn't afraid of their pincer attack at all. Instead, he used the speedboat's high speed to make the 4 speedboats kill each other. Within 20 minutes, the 4 speedboats and 8 motorboats arranged by the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force were all overturned by Lin Gu. Su Yin went straight to the Tianbua hot springs on the island. He also used his fastest speed to arrive at the last address left by Guchiya. When Su Yin saw a group of Japanese in the uniform of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force surrounding Guchiya, he couldn't help but feel scared. If he had come 10 minutes later, he would have regretted it for the rest of his life. This disguised naval force of Japan was also a motley crew. The leader of the group smiled wildly and said some unbearable words to Guchiya, whose face had already turned pale. His filthy tone really made people want to smash him into meat paste. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect you to be a flower girl. Come, let's go take a bath in the hot springs. Ha 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 ha. Guchiya spat fiercely in the face of the filthy words. Let him go. Su Yin shouted angrily. He didn't give these Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force members a chance to react. He went forward and attacked without hesitation. Su Yin's sudden appearance made Guchiya's heart instantly drop a huge rock. Her legs actually went soft, and she sat down on the ground. To catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. Su Yin suddenly rushed into the crowd. The first thing he did was to attack the leader of this group of Japanese. It was easy to identify who the leader was from their uniforms. Before the members of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force could react, Su Yin had already punched out with a majestic aura. Baji Sky Cannon. Full of strength. Su Yin would not show mercy to a dirty Japanese who was prepared to humiliate Guchiya. Even an ordinary expert would not be able to withstand the full strength of a grandmaster's punch, let alone a mere captain of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. Most likely, the moment Su Yin's fist came into contact with his body, all of his internal organs would have been shattered into pieces. The body that died in an instant was like a bag of skin that had its muscles and bones pulled out. It flew far away and landed heavily on the ground, no longer breathing. This move definitely had a shocking effect. All the soldiers of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force were dumbfounded. Before they could react, the soul-stirring pressure on Su Yin's body exploded. In an instant, the entire atmosphere fell silent. Everyone was dumbfounded as they stood in front of Su Yin in a daze. The weapons in their hands were also stiff. Even if they were loaded, they didn't know how to pull the trigger. The angry Su-yun was definitely not someone to be trifled with. There were many types of warships in the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. There were destroyers for the escort group, supply ships for the maritime transport, submarines for the submarine force, and some training ships for the fleet. This was a destroyer that belonged to the escort group. Everyone on board could be considered to be highly qualified military talents from military academies. However, no matter how highly qualified a military talent was, when faced with a Grandmaster-level expert like Su-yun, it was meaningless. After Su-yun's instant kill performance, he went forward and picked up Gu Chia, who was a little dazed, and strode out of the Tiempa hot springs. As for the sea, he believed that Lin Gu would definitely be able to deal with those harassing speedboats and motorboats. Chapter 1075. All the people sent by the destroyer were taken care of by Lin Gu. When Su-yun arrived with Gu Chia, Lin Gu was provoking the commander-in-chief on the main ship by pointing his middle finger at him. "Grandson, tell your prime minister and pay to be a good coward. Otherwise, he won't even know how he died." Lin Gu said ruthlessly. "Today is a lesson for you. Next time, it won't be so simple." Su-yun shook his head with a helpless smile. Next time? This time was already enough. The other frigates of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force were probably already on their way to Nakajima. If they didn't leave now, their corpses would sink into the sea. "Hurry up and run. We can't stay here for long." Su-yun jumped up high and safely landed on the ship with Gu Chia. Lin Gu was having fun now, so he had to restrain himself. Lin Gu smiled and pointed at the overturned speedboats and motorboats on the sea. "Brother, with their level, we don't even put them in our eyes. Do you see the commander-in-chief on the ship? He doesn't dare to do anything. Even if I get on the ship and slap him twice, he can only endure it. The Japanese are much more sinister than you think. Su-yun. He is just trying to numb you. He wants to stall for time and wait for reinforcements. If we leave now, he will dare to shoot at you. Hurry up and leave. If the submarine comes, we won't be able to leave." When Lin Gu heard the word submarine, sweat started to drip down his back. After all, those things could not be seen. If they were to sneak in a few miles, they would be blown up into the sky without a sound. At this time, Lin Gu also realized the danger of going out to sea this time. He immediately put away his usual smiling face and quickly started the speedboat to escape from Nakajima. Sure enough, Su-yun's guess was right. The commander-in-chief on the frigate did call for reinforcements. Seeing that Lin Gu didn't escape, he quietly stalled for time. But now that Lin Gu escaped, the frigate also calmed down, prepared to launch an all-out attack immediately. After all, they had only dealt with a portion of the people on a single frigate. This frigate was equipped with a 100mm naval cannon, a Type 74 octagonal anti-submarine missile launcher, 2 octagonal -41 Malawian Quachas VLS modules installed at the B gun position in front of the bridge, a US-made RUM-139 vertical rocket launcher, and a triple-mounted 324mm HUS-302 torpedo launcher on both sides of the forward chimney, which fired the new Type 97 torpedo. There was also a Japanese SH-60 Seahawk helicopter. With these weapons and equipment, let alone a small speedboat, they could even deal with a nuclear submarine. F***CK. Bro, they've already prepared a human cannon. Lin Gu also realized that something was wrong. Su-yun frowned. Who told you to be so high-profile just now? If someone played you in such a high-profile manner in front of you, would you let them leave alive? Hurry up and run. It'll be too late if we don't leave now. With Lin Ji's skills and the performance of the speedboat, the combination of the two was definitely the best strategy in the 36 stratagems. When the speedboat left Nakajima at lightning speed, the commander on the destroyer and the human cannon they prepared were completely dumbfounded. Wasn't that too fast? While the commander of the destroyer was still in a daze, a few figures staggered to the dock. Captain Ueno was killed. The woman we found was also taken away by someone. Buzz. This time, the old Japanese on the destroyer couldn't hold it in anymore. He cursed angrily. If he didn't catch the two guys on the speedboat, How was he going to explain it to Prime Minister Abe? If their maritime self-defense force was established as a navy, he would lose even more chips to compete for the position of general. This matter couldn't be let go just like that. Those two bastards must be caught. Fire! Fire! With the commander's order, everyone on the ship prepared at full speed. As they set sail, they prepared rocket launchers and torpedoes. After all, the flexibility of a large ship couldn't be compared to a speedboat. By the time they were done, Lin Gu had already sailed the speedboat out of sight. As soon as the news spread, the entire Japanese maritime self-defense force started a fierce competition. The commander on each ship knew that if they caught the person who escaped, it would be a great merit. This merit was enough to make any one of them the #1 person in the maritime self-defense force in front of the Prime Minister. Lin Gu grew up on the sea. He had a special sixth sense for the wind and grass on the sea. This sixth sense was very strong, just like how Su Yun could always intuitively determine the hidden danger on the battlefield during a special mission. Therefore, even if the entire Japanese maritime self-defense force mobilized all the frigates and destroyers, they still couldn't find the speedboat they were looking for. But the whole operation was crazy. And Pei, who had received the news, ordered all the commanders of the maritime self-defense force to capture them no matter what method they had to use. If they couldn't catch him in Japanese waters, they would go to international waters to catch him. No matter what price they had to pay, they had to catch him. The various captains and commanders who were originally prepared to take advantage of the situation once again perked up and prepared to sail into international waters to continue the search. Because of this, the search area expanded. Not only were the frigates and destroyers mobilized, but the training ships were also mobilized. However, the submarines weren't mobilized. The Japanese maritime self-defense force knew very well that it was better for the submarines not to wander around. After all, Hwasea's submarines were feared in the world. Whether it was attack submarines or ballistic missile nuclear submarines, they were all recognized by the world. There was once an American military expert who said that Hwasea's conventionally powered submarines already had the most advanced technology in the world. It was just that the number of advanced submarines was relatively small. However, Hwasea's coastal waters were within the first island chain. There were more shallow waters, which made up for the lack of submarine performance to a large extent. In addition, there were more submarines. Within the first island chain, no one could defeat Hwasea. Moreover, in recent years, Hwasea's navy had produced many new warships. It was believed that in the near future, Hwasea's fleet would start a Cold War with the American fleet in the Pacific Ocean. The little Japanese still didn't dare to enter Hwasea's waters so easily. Lin Gu also knew very well that as long as they entered Hwasea's waters, they would be completely safe. However, they seemed to have forgotten a problem. All of their fuel had been exhausted. Although this speedboat had a lot of fuel stored, Yefela had reminded them that all of the fuel added together could only go for about 500 nautical miles. A single trip for them was more than 400 nautical miles. Therefore, when they returned this time, they were still 300 nautical miles away from Hwasea's coastline. The speedboat was abandoned in international waters because of the lack of fuel. Su Yun and Lin Ji's heads were about to explode. This was really troublesome. The Japanese maritime self-defense force had done all kinds of bad things. If they went to international waters to kill them, that would definitely be the case. Unless they entered Hwasea's territorial waters, they would definitely not be safe. Brother, what should we do? Lin Gu didn't have any ideas now. Su Yun also had a headache. They couldn't possibly row the boat back, right? Chapter 1076. Guqia's words made Su Yun and Lin Gu raise their heads in surprise. They were all trapped in this vast ocean. What could Guqia do? Sister Gu, you won't let me and my brother use our hands as propellers, right? Lin Gu smiled bitterly. If the distance was close, I would have no problem pushing the boat from behind and swimming back. But there are still 300 nautical miles. Even if I sacrifice the rest of my life, I won't be able to go back. Su Yun believed that Guqia would not use such an unreliable method. What can you do? She had been at sea all year round. She should have a better solution than them in the face of unexpected situations. Gu Chia said, I know someone who can help us. Is there a satellite phone on the boat? Yes. Lin Ge nodded vigorously. How could such a well-equipped speedboat not have a satellite phone? This was not a problem. That's good. Gu Chia let out a long sigh of relief. This could be considered a blessing in disguise. Fortunately, she remembered that phone number. Su Yin was a little confused. Even if we call for help now, I'm afraid it's too late. If someone could come quickly by calling, he would have contacted the Dragon Fury team long ago. However, it was unrealistic for them to rush over in a short time. This person is in this area, Gu Chia said. Now we can only hope that he will help us. Gu Chia quickly dialed a number. A lazy yawn came from the other end of the phone. Hey, who is it? It's noon. Can't you let me sleep? Gu Chia said politely. Excuse me, this is... My name is Wang Dahu. I'm a chef. Without waiting for Gu Chia to finish speaking, the other party interrupted her. If you want to make a reservation, then I'm sorry, but I don't have a reservation anymore. If you must make a reservation, then I can tell you that your reservation will be arranged in 647 days. If you feel that the waiting time is too long, then there's a way to help you. If you're willing to pay 100 yuan per day, then I can immediately help you with the ampere. You only need to pay an additional 64,700 yuan, and you can get the service immediately. It was as if the other party was performing a crosstalk. It was as if he wouldn't be happy if he didn't finish his sentence in one breath. Wang Dahu, I'm not going to eat at your place, Gu Chia said helplessly. Wang Dahu was unhappy when he heard that. I am Wang Dahu. I am a chef. If you're not going to eat at my place, then why are you calling me? It's lunch break now. Do you know how precious my lunch break is? Also, let me tell you, during the period when you call me, there are probably hundreds of customers who are also calling this number. Do you know how much money I will have to pay because of your boredom? How can you be like this? I already have the right to sue you in court. You have to compensate me for the mental damage and loss of work. I'm Gu Chia. Gu Chia couldn't stand Wang Dahu's way of expressing himself without even taking a breath, and shouted loudly. Su Yun and Lin Ge were dumbfounded. What kind of weird chef was on the other side of the phone? Also, Gu Chia found a chef. Could he really help them solve the threat of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force? Could he help them find fuel? Wang Dahu on the other side of the phone was stunned. It took him a while to come back to his senses. He said foolishly, I was wondering who it was. So it's Miss Gu. Why is it you? Why, do you have time today? Do you want to eat at my place? Wang Dahu, I'm not in a good situation now. Gu Chia immediately told Wang Dahu her coordinates. Our speedboat has no fuel left. The Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force is chasing after us. I need your help. Hiss. Wang Dahu sucked in a cold breath. Big Missy. What did you do to offend the Japanese? Even the Maritime Self-Defense Force has been mobilized? I don't have time to explain to you now. Quickly think of a way to help me. Gu Chia said. We won't be able to hold on for long. The Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force will send out helicopters soon. By then, we won't have any hope of escaping. Wang Dahu's voice became serious. Miss, hold on for another half an hour. I'll try my best to get there within half an hour. If you're discovered by the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force before I get there, jump into the sea and swim southwest. I'll think of a way. The Wang Dahu who called himself a chef and spoke weakly seemed to have changed into a different person. He did things swiftly and decisively. After he finished speaking, he hung up the phone without hesitation. Su Yin and Lin Ge looked at each other. What kind of person was this Wang Dahu? They were on an empty sea. He actually dared to say that he would rush over in half an hour? Your friend? Su Yin couldn't believe it. What does he do? After Gu Chia got Wang Dahu's guarantee, she relaxed a lot. Wang Dahu, you people who don't go out to sea often don't know him. But those of us who go out to sea often are familiar with his name. He's the owner of the first oceanic restaurant in this area. What's an oceanic restaurant? Lin Ge asked curiously. He has a huge ship. His ship is a luxuriously decorated oceanic mobile restaurant. His seafood cooking is superb, so others call him the oceanic god of cookery, Guqia said. Guqia said, but he prefers to introduce himself to others as Wang Dahu. This is the nickname his father gave him. Oceanic Mobile Restaurant? Wasn't that a little too cool? Su Yin and Lin Ge couldn't believe it. Don't be surprised, Guqia said. Actually, many rich and powerful people like to go out to sea for a few hundred nautical miles to try his oceanic restaurant. No one dares to offend him on the high seas. He's considered a big shot. It's just that he keeps a low profile, so you probably haven't heard of him. Indeed, the oceanic god of cookery, Wang Dahu. They had never heard of this name. Sister Gu, are you sure he's reliable? Lin Ge still didn't believe it. You'll know when you see him, Guqia said. Now let's just pray that the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force won't find us in half an hour. This half an hour was definitely the longest half an hour in Guqia's life. They had to worry about whether there would be cannonballs and torpedoes coming at them at all times. They also had to worry about whether the helicopters of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force would find them and lock onto their targets. Su Yun and Lin Ge were also preparing for battle every second. Although they had no one to rely on in the vast ocean, they could accept this helpless state. Time passed by minute by minute. Suddenly, there was a sound in the distance. The three of them looked up at the sky almost at the same time. A blurry black that was getting closer and closer to them. Soon, the shape of the helicopter could be seen clearly. Chapter 1077. Su Yin knew very well that although the helicopter couldn't be equipped with heavy weapons, it was still equipped with simple weapons like machine guns. The other party only needed to suppress them with a round of firepower, and they had no other choice but to jump into the sea. If they jumped into the sea a little later, they might be shot like dice. Su Yin made a prompt decision. Jump off the boat immediately. Pigeon, take good care of your sister Gu. Make sure she's safe underwater. Although Lin Ge was unwilling, he looked at the helicopter hovering in the sky. Such a good ship could only be abandoned at sea. Damn Japanese, don't let me have the chance to kill you all when I get back. Just as Lin Ge and Guqia were about to jump into the sea, and Su Yin was about to use himself as bait to attract the helicopter in the opposite direction to open up space for Lin Ge and Guqia to escape, Guqia suddenly exclaimed, I'm afraid this isn't the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force's helicopter. I don't see the Japanese flag on it. After hearing Guqia's words, Su Yin and Lin Ge came to a realization. That's right, the Japanese people were so self-righteous and narcissistic. How could they not print their sanitary napkin like sun flag? Could this helicopter be? Su Yun's eyesight was good. He suddenly took a deep breath. The words printed on the helicopter were Chinese. Dahu Seafood City. This Wang Dahu was really not an ordinary person. He even arranged for a helicopter just like that. Su Yun couldn't help but feel that the world was too big. There was always someone better than you. There was actually such a person 300 nautical miles away from the coastline. It was really an eye-opener for him. He didn't expect this Wang Dahu to be so kind. After the helicopter arrived, he directly put down a barrel of fuel, and even pasted a note on it. The coordinates of Dahu Seafood City were written very clearly. He also said that he was already waiting for them at the seafood city, and asked them to leave immediately. The helicopter would stay behind to cover his retreat. Now was not the time to be grateful. Su Yin and Lin Ge quickly added fuel to the boat, and rushed to Wang Dahu's seafood city. They had nowhere to go even if they didn't want to, because a barrel of fuel was not enough for them to return to Huaxia's territorial waters. Lin Ge quickly steered the boat to its destination. This big tiger seafood city was truly shocking. It was a very large ship. Through its own design, it even had a small passageway that led to the bottom of the ship. A platform was built around the hull of the ship with the help of buoyancy. All the ships that arrived could dock outside the platform as if they were docked at a port. Then they could go through the platform and enter the main ship through the passageway. The main ship was the Real Tiger Seafood City. Because it was in international waters, Dahu Seafood City's business was not only for Huaxia people, but also for local tycoons from all over the world. People nowadays liked novelty. There was no place on land that they hadn't eaten before. How could they not come and try a restaurant that required them to travel more than 10 hours by boat? The problem was not the taste but the novelty and price. There was an endless stream of people who wanted to eat at the sea restaurant. But Wang Dahu only served 10 tables a day. As for the reason, he didn't explain, and there was no need to explain. The restaurant was his, and the boat was his. If he was willing to accept, he would accept. If he wasn't, he wouldn't accept. So over time, those who wanted to eat here all needed to make an appointment. If it was fully booked, it would be pushed back. Although it wasn't as exaggerated as Wang Dahu saying it was pushed back by more than 600 days, it was still fully booked for at least a month. Later on, Wang Dahu realized that some local tycoons didn't care about money. It was like buying a car. Didn't you need 2 months to get your car? Okay, I'll pay more. I want it in 2 days. As long as there was money, nothing was a problem. Wang Dahu was the same. When he met such people, they would ask for 100,000 or 80,000. If they wanted to eat in advance, then it was fine for him to prepare an extra table. Anyway, the money he earned would be distributed to the chefs on the boat. This was treated as a bonus. Lin Ge stopped the speedboat, and Su Yin helped Gu Qia onto the platform. Wang Dahu was already waiting for Gu Qia's arrival. The tall and slender Wang Dahu didn't match his name at all. At least, Su Yin felt that Wang Dahu was quite fashionable. He could be considered a handsome guy in the world of chefs. He looked to be in his 30s or 40s. He was still quite young. Miss Gu, your arrival really caught me off guard. Wang Dahu said. How did we end up in such a sorry state? Gu Qia shook her head helplessly. It's a long story. We won't provoke the Japanese by coming here, right? That's hard to say. Wang Dahu said. One thing is for sure. The Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force won't dare to do anything rash. The Japanese know very well what kind of guests come here. Even their prime minister came here before. They won't dare to do anything to me. If they hurt anyone with power in the country, it might cause a war. I'm very safe here. This definitely made sense. However, if the Japanese can't do it openly, they might play dirty. The Maritime Self-Defense Force won't appear. They might pretend to be guests to investigate. Wang Dahu said. If that's the case, there's even less need to worry. I, Wang Dahu, don't care about a few Japanese. Thank you so much. Gu Qia heaved a sigh of relief. Wang Dahu chuckled. It's a small matter. Don't mention it. Miss, these 2 friends of yours are. He's Su Yin and he's Lin Ge. If not for them, I'm afraid I would have been captured by the Japanese. Gu Qia still felt a lingering fear when she thought about it. However, the cause of this incident was still because Su Yin brought Kevin Matthew onto Gu Qia's ship. Otherwise, Gu Qia wouldn't have suffered such a heavy injury, and the brothers in the mercenary group wouldn't have sacrificed themselves so pitifully. Qia, I'm sorry. All of this happened because of me. Su Yin blamed himself. He had to take responsibility for this matter on behalf of Kevin Matthew. Gu Qia didn't seem to be in the mood to talk to Su Yin. She shook her head and signaled Su Yin to stop talking about this topic. She just wanted to be quiet for a while. Let's put aside the unhappy matters for now. I've prepared some drinks for you to calm down. Wang Dahu said. Coming to my place is equivalent to coming to your own home. Don't stand on ceremony. Brother Dahu, we've really troubled you. Su Yin's gratitude came from the bottom of his heart. If not for Wang Dahu's help, he really didn't know how to bring Gu Qia out of danger. Lin Ge also hurriedly thanked him. Thank you, Brother Dahu, for saving us. We're all friends. It's just a small matter. It's not worth mentioning, Wang Dahu said. Moreover, it's to help Miss Gu. I, Wang Dahu, may only be a chef, but it's my duty to help. Everyone talked as they boarded the ship. Wang Dahu really didn't only know how to be polite. He really prepared a sumptuous drink and a sumptuous seafood feast. The hungriest person now was probably Gu Qia. Su Yin didn't even dare to think that she hadn't eaten a few meals. Chapter 1078. Ling Feng was Wang Dahu's right-hand man. Whether it was in the kitchen or on a daily basis, he could always clean up Wang Dahu's mess. In Ling Feng's words, his life was given to him by Wang Dahu, so he had no regrets doing anything for his benefactor. Even if Wang Dahu wanted him to die, he would jump into the sea to feed the sharks without hesitation. In the end, Wang Dahu kept him by his side at his Dahu Seafood Town's restaurant. That was why he was so loyal and considerate. Since he was from the Dahu Seafood Town's restaurant, he had to have culinary skills. Whether it was the boss, Wang Dahu, or the cleaner on the boat, they were all good at cooking. While Wang Dahu was eating with a few guests, Ling Feng had already arranged for people to hide Su Yun's speedboat. In the nearby waters, other than their Dahu Seafood Town's restaurant, no one else had the guts to do so. As long as the Japanese weren't idiots, they would definitely come looking for them. Wang Dahu was certain of this when he received Gu Qiya's call. However, Wang Dahu and Ling Feng were the same kind of people. They knew how to repay kindness. No matter what their benefactor asked them to do, they would have no regrets. A year ago, Gu Qiya, who went out to sea for the first time, met Wang Dahu in this area. Wang Dahu took a small boat out in the middle of the night to fish for a rare sea fish that would only take the bait at night. Because this type of sea fish had high nutritional value and was extremely difficult to catch, but it had a significant effect on lowering cholesterol. Many customers liked it, even if the price was high. Wang Dahu also liked to fish, so he studied the habits and taste of this type of fish, and realized that it was only easy to catch it at night. Moreover, this type of fish happened to live in a place that was relatively close to the Japanese waters. There was a place where the sea current passed, which was the most suitable place for this type of fish to live. Ever since he found this place, Wang Dahu liked to drive his small boat here to fish at night. If you often walk by the river, how can your shoes not get wet? Although this area didn't enter Japan's territorial waters, the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force was very sinister. Without any warning, they launched a barrage of Stinger missiles, directly blowing up Wang Dahu's ship. If it wasn't for the fact that Wang Dahu was injured, he would have risked his life to charge into Japan's territorial waters and kill the bastard that blew him up. Wang Dahu was seriously injured, and his boat had sunk. He could only rely on a board to swim back. At this time, as long as there was a slightly aggressive fish, he might not be able to handle it. Just as Wang Dahu was about to fall unconscious, Gu Qiya's ship passed by and saved him. Because they were both from Huaxia, Gu Qiya took good care of Wang Dahu. He even stopped for 2 days and waited for Wang Dahu's health to improve before giving him a small boat to let him leave. The two of them met at that time. Wang Dahu told Gu Qiya everything about himself and left her his phone number, so that she could contact him no matter what. No matter what happened, he would do his best to help Gu Qiya. Gu Qiya could remember this number because she had been in danger many times. She wanted to call, but she never did. But this time was different. She didn't ask for Wang Dahu's help, so the possibility of them escaping danger was almost zero. Ling Feng walked to Wang Dahu's side and whispered, "Boss, I have already hidden their boat. No one will find it." Wang Dahu nodded. "Got it." "What does Boss Wang mean?" Lin Gu couldn't take it. "Hide our boat? Is this Sun Ernyang's human meat bun shop? We can come in, but we can't leave? Pigeon, don't be so unreasonable." Su Yun said calmly, "I don't think Boss Wang meant that, right?" Although Su Yun said that, he had to be cautious. In this day and age, people's hearts weren't what they used to be. Most of the time, you could know a person's face but not his heart. Moreover, Su Yun and Lin Gu didn't know what kind of friendship Gu Qiya had with Wang Dahu. If one were to say that friendship was divided into levels, those with a high level would be called living and dying together, and that would be brothers. Those below would be sworn brothers, and those below would be called friends of gentlemen. Then Gu Qiya and Wang Dahu were at most just acquaintances. "What do you mean?" When Ling Feng heard this, he immediately spoke up to defend Wang Dahu. "Our boss has good intentions, but you guys don't know how to appreciate his kindness." Lin Gu slammed the table and stood up. "Who are you calling a dog? Clean your mouth." "So what if I'm calling you names?" Ling Feng didn't back down. "Enough." Wang Dahu stood up and glared at Ling Feng. "Have you forgotten what I told you? Miss Gu is my esteemed guest. My benefactor. Her friend is also my honored guest. Her benefactor is also my benefactor. How did I teach you how to treat your guests? Ling Feng immediately stood up respectfully and didn't refute. He bowed deeply to Su Yin and Lin Gu and said, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have caused you two to misunderstand," Wang Dahu explained. He didn't have any other intentions when he went to the treasure ship. He was just worried that the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force would find him. He just wanted to avoid causing trouble for you two. He definitely didn't mean to stop you two from leaving. Hearing this, Su Yin and Lin Gu were relieved. Su Yin coughed and looked at Lin Gu. Lin Gu understood what he meant. He scratched his head and said to Wang Dahu and Ling Feng, "I'm sorry, I really don't know how to appreciate kindness. Please don't be offended. I understand. Wang Dahu said. We can't help ourselves in the martial arts world. Sometimes there are things that make us wary. As the saying goes, don't have the heart to harm others, but don't let your guard down. I can completely understand. Boss Wang is magnanimous," Su Yin said. Gu Qia wasn't worried about that at all. She heard something else from Wang Dahu's words. "What did you say? What do you mean by the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force will find us?" "The Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force is very arrogant. There's no place on the high seas that they don't dare to wander around," Wang Dahu said. "After all, my business is an illegal business that doesn't pay taxes. It can only be done on the high seas. That's why I've interacted with them a few times." Gu Qia was shocked. "You've fought with the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force?" "Not really. As long as they don't do anything, I can't be bothered to find trouble for myself," Wang Dahu said. "Don't worry, I have my ways. Even if they find us, they won't dare to do anything in my territory," Lin Gu said in admiration. "Boss Wang is so domineering. Our territory should be written that Japanese and dogs are not allowed to enter. As long as they dare to board the ship, we'll beat them up." "Boss Wang, it's really troublesome this time," Su Yin solemnly replied. "If the Dongying people come looking for us, we will definitely not implicate you. Don't worry about that. If it's not convenient, we can leave now. However, we need Boss Wang to lend us some fuel. Let us have the capital to go back," Wang Dahu said. "Fuel isn't a problem. The problem now is that you have to wait for the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force to finish their search before you can leave. Otherwise, you can defend against their people, but you can't defend against their torpedoes and missiles. Believe me, I've suffered at their hands before." Chapter 1079. If they dare to fight, then I dare to fight them. There are no laws on the high seas. Who's afraid of who? Lin Gu said unhappily. Ever since I can remember things, I've had one wish. That is to destroy one of their warships. Let them know that I'm not to be trifled with. These are all words of anger, little brother. Don't think that the Japanese can't do it. After Wang Dahu finished speaking, he suddenly lifted up his shirt, revealing a shocking scar that stretched from his collarbone to his crotch. This was left behind by the Japanese's missile. Lin Ji's mouth opened wide. It was a bit exaggerated. He had heard of people surviving after being hit by bullets, but this was the first time he had heard of someone surviving after being hit by a missile. Su Yin sucked in a breath of cold air. This Wang Dahu was definitely not a small matter. His entire body was almost torn apart, but he was still alive. Whether it was on the battlefield or in the medical field, this was a miracle among miracles. If it wasn't for Miss Gu saving me that day, I would have died in this sea, Wang Dahu said. Don't worry. I, Wang Dahu, know how to repay kindness. I will definitely not let Miss Gu and you die in the hands of the Japanese. If the Japanese want to play hard, then I'll just go all out. I have dozens of brothers on the ship, and none of them are afraid of death. Ling Feng said, Boss, as long as you say the word, no matter if it's a hail of bullets, I'll lead my brothers and charge forward. The people on this ship were really forthright. However, when it came to fighting with the Japanese, how many Huaxia people didn't have the guts to do so? You've seen it too. None of my brothers are cowards. As long as the Japanese play hard, no one in my Dahu seafood city will be a coward. Wang Dahu said, Leave this matter to me. Don't worry. If it's just a few captains of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force, I'm afraid they won't dare to come on the ship to investigate because of me. No matter what kind of person Wang Dahu was, what connections he had, and what kind of strength he had, it was best to avoid this matter for now. Because Su Yin didn't want to implicate anyone because of his own affairs. He could only hope that this matter would pass peacefully. Just like what Wang Dahu had said. A mere captain of the Japanese self-defense force would not provoke him because of his face. This was the best ending. Boss. Something's happening. A warning came from the people on the observation deck. 3 nautical miles ahead, a destroyer from the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force has been spotted. The arrival of this news immediately made everyone nervous, and they all rushed to the deck. He was nervous but not afraid. This kind of nervousness was mixed with impulsiveness and excitement. It seemed that Lin Gu wasn't the only one who couldn't wait any longer. He wanted to step forward and have a good fight with the naval forces that called themselves the Self-Defense Forces. Wang Dahu's subordinates also rubbed their fists and were eager to give it a try. After all, the people on Wang Dahu's ship all owed him a favor. Wang Dahu was their absolute benefactor, and Wang Dahu had been tricked by the Japanese before. They had always held this grudge. If it wasn't for Wang Dahu saying that revenge was a dish best served cold, the people from Dahu Seafood City would have already rushed to Japan's territorial waters and fought to the death with the self-defense forces. Ling Feng quickly passed the binoculars to Wang Dahu. Through the binoculars, Wang Dahu saw the Japanese corvette in the distance. Moreover, there was a faint white dot on the surface of the sea. It was a speedboat from Japan. As expected, the speedboat quickly arrived at Wang Dahu's Dahu Seafood City. Little Hachi, who was in charge of receiving guests on the platform, didn't let the 3 Japanese on board the speedboat. Instead, he hurried over to report to Wang Dahu. Wang Dahu's men weren't easy to deal with. They dared to make a living on the open sea without the protection of the law. They were all prepared to risk their lives for a living. Although the Japanese soldiers had guns in their hands, Wang Dahu's men also had guns. Who was afraid of who? Moreover, this was their territory. If these Japanese soldiers dared to cause trouble, they wouldn't be polite. Boss, how should we deal with these Japanese bastards? Little Hachi asked. Wang Dahu waved his hand. Just 3 errand boys and they want to board my ship? Son of AB*TCH. Who do they think they are? Fire a warning shot and tell them to scram. If they don't scram, then take them down. Yes. Little Hachi was emboldened. When he returned to the second-level platform, he immediately led his men to fire a warning shot at the 3 Japanese soldiers to scram. The 3 Japanese soldiers saw that the situation wasn't right, so they didn't delay and left in a hurry. Brothers, we still have a few tables of customers eating on the ship, so we have to give our customers a perfect environment. Wang Dahu spoke. Bring out all the weapons. Let them know that we aren't to be trifled with. We can't let them disturb our customers' dining environment. The customers are God. The customers were God. This saying wasn't wrong at all. However, God had to spend money. Those who could come to Wang Dahu's Dahu Seafood City to eat were all people who spent money like water. In the normal seafood cities on the mainland, a meal that cost 3,000 to 5,000 yuan was already quite good. However, in Wang Dahu's Seafood City, it was 100 times more expensive. At least 300,000 to 500,000 yuan. There was no choice. Eating seafood here wasn't called seafood. It was called the environment. It was called freshness. It was called excitement. A seafood city on the open sea. If they took a picture of the meal and posted it on their circle of friends, they would definitely get 32 likes. The moment Wang Dahu's firearms appeared, it really shocked Su Yin and Lin Ge. No wonder he was so confident. 8 automatic defense machine guns surrounded the entire ship. 10 Barrett sniper riflemen were ready at their respective positions. The rest of the people were carrying M79 hammer launchers in their hands, RPG launchers on their shoulders, at 4 anti-tank rocket launchers, Stinger missiles and Javelin missiles. They were all heavy weapons. Of course, not everyone was playing with heavy weapons. These weapons could directly attack the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Forces corvette. There was no lack of close combat weapons either. There were MP5 submachine guns, TMP submachine guns, UMP-45 submachine guns, M16 assault rifles, AK-47 assault rifles, ACR assault rifles, FN-2000 assault rifles, and everything else. M240 light machine guns, RPD light machine guns, MG4 light machine guns. They were all in position. Ling Feng carried a SPAS 12 shotgun and hurriedly ran to Wang Dahu's side. He handed a magnum revolver to Wang Dahu. The dozens of chefs on Wang Dahu's ship transformed into armed mercenaries in just a few minutes. Even Gu Qia, who specialized in selling firearms by sea, couldn't help but be shocked by the weapons on Wang Dahu's ship. Wang Dahu's men all had weapons that they were familiar with, and there were still countless weapons and ammunition left. He was very generous. He said to Su Yin and the others, "Pick any weapons you like. Use whichever suits you best." "No need." Su Yin smiled. At crucial moments, he still trusted his fists more. Wang Dahu also smiled. "I know you're an expert, but sometimes normal people can't see your hidden strength. They can only see what you show on the surface. So, if you don't show them, they'll think you're weak." Su Yin gave him a thumbs up. "You're the real expert." Chapter 1080. Where did you get so many weapons from? Gu Qia would definitely be confused. She usually did business on this sea route, and Wang Dahu had never done any business with her. Gu Qia suspected that Wang Dahu bought the weapons from that bastard who betrayed the big circle. Because she was too familiar with these weapons and munitions. Wang Dahu chuckled. "Miss Gu, if I tell you, don't be angry with me." Gu Qia frowned. "You know that I'm in this business. Why did you buy from someone else? Are you afraid that I'll cheat you?" "Miss Gu, you misunderstood me," Wang Dahu explained. "I'm just a chef. I have a small business, and I have to feed dozens of brothers. I really don't have much money. How much would it cost to buy so many weapons? How could I afford it? So, I can only think of other ways." "What other ways can you think of? Are you going to steal or rob?" Wang Dahu smiled embarrassedly. "Miss Gu, you guessed right." Gu Qia's jaw almost dropped. This guy, other than being a chef, was also a pirate? "Miss Gu, I'm not a pirate. I never bully good people," Wang Dahu said. "Huaxia prohibits weapons. So, those who buy your weapons are bad people with ulterior motives. Since they're bad guys, I'll rob them once in a while. Most of the time, I'll intercept the firearms they bought from you and bring them to me. Hee, of course. Other than robbing the Chinese firearms dealers, I'll also extend my reach to the Japanese. Most of the firearms that the Japanese firearms dealers bought from you will also be taken back by me." Gu Qia rolled her eyes. This guy was really... Phew, no wonder her weapons business in Huaxia, Dongying, and even the Korean dynasty was doing so well. It turned out that Wang Dahu was in the middle. Most of the weapons bought by those people were stolen by him. No wonder the supply could not meet the demand. Wang Dahu said proudly. "By doing this, I've helped Miss Gu earn money. I've also helped the situation of the various countries become more stable. I've also obtained weapons for defense. The bad guys have also been punished. This is killing 4 birds with 1 stone. What a good thing, don't you think? I sincerely give Boss Wang 32 likes." Su Yin, such an action would prevent many guns from entering Huaxia. This way, those evil underground forces would not be able to run amok just because they have guns. Such a good thing. Of course Su Yin would support it. Thank you, Wang Dahu said humbly. Speaking of which, if it wasn't for the fact that Wang Dahu had accumulated so many firearms over the years, the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force probably wouldn't be so worried. This is called reaping what you sow. Lin Ge said. Boss Wang is really brilliant. So the one who saved everyone this time was not me, Wang Dahu, but Miss Gu. If it wasn't for her firearms, my ship would have been sunk by the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force. Wang Dahu, don't try to trick me, Gu Qia said. The Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force wouldn't dare to touch you just because of these firearms. At most, they would arrange for a ship to perish together with you. There must be something else that made them worry about you. Wang Dahu grinned. Miss Gu is still the wisest. There are some other small things. However, that's not important. What's important is that they don't dare to open fire on us. 3 nautical miles away, a Japanese maritime self-defense force frigate was facing off against Wang Dahu's restaurant ship. The commander of the ship, Captain Aota, was furious when he found out that the 3 people he sent out were threatened by the enemy with guns. Aota-san was one of the more impulsive captains in the Japanese maritime self-defense force. He was about to give the order to attack. Fortunately, his deputy was calmer and stopped him from being impulsive. "Captain, look, we can't attack. If we do, we will also be heavily injured. It's not worth it to fight to the death with them." The deputy passed the binoculars to Aota-san. Aota-san picked up the binoculars and had a look. He was shocked. He didn't expect that a person from a restaurant on the sea would have such an amazing weapon. There were so many heavy weapons. It must be known that those heavy weapons could directly threaten their frigates. It seemed that this matter needed to be discussed at length. Although if they took down the enemy, they would be able to make a great contribution. He, Aota-san, would also become a general that everyone respected and would be highly regarded by the Prime Minister. However, if he had to pay the price with his life, Aota-san wouldn't be so stupid. Retreat. This matter isn't a good thing. Let the others deal with it. We can just sit back and reap the benefits. Aota-san followed his deputy's suggestion and left as if nothing had happened. When Wang Dahu and the others saw the Japanese frigate leave, they all spat and scolded them for being cowards. "Not all captains are cowards," Suyin said. "After this one leaves, there might be another one. There will always be someone who wants to fight with us." "Brother Suyin is right," Wang Dahu said. "Although they left, we still need to prepare for battle in case they sneak attack us." As expected, less than half an hour after Aota-san's frigate left, the second Japanese maritime self-defense force destroyer appeared in the nearby waters. The name of this destroyer's captain sounded like a Huaxia person, but he was a Japanese through and through, called Qin Shoshing. This Qin Shoshing was very impressive. Among the captains of the Japanese maritime self-defense force, he was a very famous person. This type of person could be split into 2 types. One was the vicious and merciless people, causing others to feel fear. The other was the smiling tiger. On the surface they were good, yes, but behind the scenes, they could kill people. Obviously, Qin Shoshing was the second type. The reason why he was able to survive in the Japanese maritime self-defense force was because of his smiling tiger appearance. Naturally, Qin Shoshing had also noticed the vigilance of the famous Big Tiger seafood city in international waters. Suddenly, doubt arose in his heart. Why would they go to such great lengths to prepare weapons and equipment for no reason? It couldn't be right. There was definitely something wrong with this matter. He had to go and check it out. "Prepare a ship for me," Qin Shoshing said to his deputy. "I want to go personally and check it out." "Captain, the owner of Dahu Seafood City has a background. We shouldn't get involved in this mess," the deputy captain said nervously. "Isn't it just Wang Dahu?" Of course I know he has a background." Qin Shoshing laughed coldly. "But have you forgotten what the Prime Minister wants us to do? No matter what price we have to pay, we have to find the 3 people who escaped. The owner of the seafood city, Wang Dahu, is from Huaxia. He might have something to do with this matter. I don't believe that the 3 of them can get far on a speedboat. There's an 80% to 90% chance that Wang Dahu hid them." The deputy captain couldn't change his mind, and could only prepare a speedboat for Qin Shoshing. "Yes. I'll do it right away." "Do it right away. Don't talk nonsense. Don't waste time. It's as meaningless as Huaxia's so-called, immediately set up an office. We are the imperial soldiers of Japan. We have to be efficient. Understand?" "Yes." The deputy captain hurriedly retreated to prepare the speedboat. A speedboat that could seat 8 people. Captain Qin Shoshing brought 6 of his trusted aides. Seeing that the deputy captain didn't intend to get on the boat, he asked, "Are you going to stay?" Captain, there has to be someone who can control the situation. If something happens to you over there, I can mobilize the troops to save you," the deputy captain explained. Chapter 1081. The captain's tone was already so firm. As a deputy, what else could he say? Resistance was a violation of military orders. It was a violation of duty. It was disobedience. It was a major breach of duty. Qin Shouxing's deputy captain could only bite the bullet and follow him to the Big Tiger Sea seafood city that was fully prepared with firearms. Don't worry. I have full confidence that they won't do anything to us, Qin Shouxing said confidently. My large warship is just 2 or 3 nautical miles away from them. Do you think they will dare to do anything? No, they definitely won't. The deputy captain's answer was very certain. Qin Shouxing was a smiling tiger. Usually he would flatter the leader with a smiling face, so he especially liked it when others flattered him. This was something that everyone on the destroyer knew. Everyone liked to flatter him on a daily basis to gain his recognition. Fish find fish, shrimp find shrimp, tortoise find tortoise. Of course, Qin Shouxing liked people who were on the same side as him. That way he would feel that he was not so despicable. Otherwise he would feel guilty. The speedboat approached Wang Dahu's restaurant bit by bit. Everyone on the ship was ready for battle. The other party only had 8 people, so there was nothing to be afraid of. Under Wang Dahu's signal, Su Yun, Lin Gu, and Gu Qia were brought to a quiet room by Xiao Ba. Wang Dahu promised that he would not let the Japanese disturb them. Boss, the people who came this time seem different, Ling Feng said. It seems that there are 2 officials. It seems that my reputation is not small. The captain and deputy captain are both here, Wang Dahu said. Brothers, take good care of them. Of course. Everyone grinned. The speedboat had just approached the second-level platform of the restaurant when more than a dozen guns were raised and aimed at the people on the ship. It was impossible to say that Qin Shouxing was not afraid, but he was an experienced officer after all. As the captain of a warship, he would not be frightened by a few guns aimed at him. His 6 trusted guards also raised the weapons in their hands. The vice-captain also hurriedly took out a pistol from his pocket and aimed left and right. Unfortunately, there were too many guns on the other side, and he did not know who to aim at. Boss Wang, is this how you treat your guests? Qin Shouxing was still very imposing. His Chinese was not bad, but his accent was a little unclear. He raised his head and puffed out his chest. He was not afraid of being aimed at by more than a dozen guns. Without waiting for Wang Dahu to speak, Qin Shouxing introduced himself. I am Qin Shouxing, the captain of the 10,000-bird destroyer. I belong to the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Forces frigate group. Beastly? Damn, this name is too good, too wonderful. Because of Qin Shouxing's accent, everyone heard him as a beast. There were already a few people who couldn't help but laugh out loud. These parents were too good at naming. Who were they scolding? A cough, cough, cough. Wang Dahu held back his laughter and said lightly, Captain Beast, I didn't expect you to have heard of me, Wang Dahu. It's really an honor. I'm afraid that everyone in the international waters within hundreds of miles knows Boss Wang's name. Qin Shouxing said. I'm lucky to have heard some things about Boss Wang from Deputy Prime Minister Su Dalong. Ha ha ha, I've long heard of your name. Wang Dahu was stunned. Since this guy had heard of him from Su Dalong, then there was nothing to worry about. Deputy Prime Minister Su, haha, he's been here 3 times. I've heard of him. Qin Shouxing smiled and said, I heard that ever since Boss Wang knew that Deputy Prime Minister Su was from Japan, you stopped receiving him. Ha ha ha, you're being racist. If you say so, then so be it. Wang Dahu said, since Captain Beast knows that I don't receive Japanese, then please go back. Boss Wang, I'm not the Deputy Prime Minister, and I won't appreciate you as a person just because of one of your dishes. Although Qin Shouxing was smiling, everyone could feel the dagger hidden in his smile. He said, Deputy Prime Minister Asil might forgive you for discriminating against Japan because of your dish, but I, Qin Shouxing, won't. I'm the Prime Minister's soldier. Boss Wang, you have to think this through. Wang Dahu had already thought it through. Captain Beast, I didn't let your Deputy Prime Minister on board the ship. What can you do? I've already told you that I discriminated against you. So what? If I knew that Su Dalong was your Deputy Prime Minister when he first came, I wouldn't have let him on the ship. Although Qin Shouxing still had a smile on his face, His pride from Japan's imperialism was already stirring up trouble. Endless hatred rose in his heart. Boss Wang, you have to take responsibility for your words. That sinister intent made people feel a chill in their hearts. You bastard, it seems like we're the ones aiming at your head with guns. You better be polite to our boss. Ling Feng couldn't wait to pick up the shotgun in his hand and shoot them. Seeing that Ling Feng was angry, the deputy captain of the 10,000-bird ship was already sweating. He wasn't this timid when he was a soldier, but as his rank increased, he became more and more afraid of death. He was still thinking about when he could replace Qin Shoshing and become the captain himself. If he died, then he couldn't even think about it. Boss Wang, that's not what our captain meant. The deputy captain hurriedly explained. Let's talk nicely. Don't fight. We're just chasing 3 fugitives. We don't mean anything else. We definitely don't mean to cause trouble for Boss Wang. Baka. Qin Shoshing saw that his deputy captain was so cowardly and was instantly enraged. He suddenly pulled out his sword, and without giving his deputy captain a chance to explain, he directly stabbed the deputy captain in the heart. This scene came very suddenly. No one would have thought that they would fight each other like dogs and kill each other. Bastard! Cowardly rat! You've tarnished the blood of our Japanese soldiers. Qin Shoshing pulled out his sword angrily and kicked the deputy captain into the sea. The Japanese were just too cruel. Qin Shoshing raised his sword and said to Wang Dahu, Boss Wang, I was polite just now to give face to the deputy prime minister. But you have to know that the Japanese soldiers work for the prime minister. Even if the deputy prime minister appreciates you, I still have to do my job. What's your job? Wang Dahu said in disdain. Your job is to watch over Japan's territorial waters, not to cause trouble on the high seas. I want to get on your ship. Check if there's the person I'm looking for on your ship. If you're harboring someone the Japanese Empire wants to capture, you're guilty too. His entire family shall be executed. Qin Shoshing shouted savagely. Wang Dahu sneered. Then you can try taking a step forward. Sparks were instantly ignited. The atmosphere in the Dahu seafood city became tense. Both sides were on the verge of exploding. Let's try. Qin Shoshing said angrily. My ship is 3 nautical miles away. If you dare to attack me, my ship will sink you. Chapter 1082. Wang Dahu held the RPG rocket launcher and aimed at the speedboat that was less than 10 meters away from the platform. Qin Shoshing stood at the point where the speedboat connected with the platform. He didn't seem to want to retreat. I, Wang Dahu, am not someone who doesn't give people a chance. You're a beast, right? I don't care if you're a beast or not. As long as you dare to step on my platform, I'll give you this gift. Wang Dahu shrugged the RPG rocket launcher on his shoulder. If you don't believe me, then try. We Huaxia people are true to our words. We're definitely not like you Japanese. Your words are worse than your farts. You change your words all the time. Cool. He had seen people threaten people with knives and guns, but not many people would threaten people with an RPG rocket launcher. Qin Shoshing faced this RPG rocket launcher that could turn him into meat paste. For a moment, his confidence was really shaken. Although there was no fear on his face, he was very clear that his legs were weak. Okay, then I'll try. It's so close. If you hit me, you'll be affected too. Qin Shoshing said. I don't believe that you'll die with me. Try it. Wang Dahu laughed provocatively and said proudly, You'll definitely be turned into meat paste, but I might not die. If I don't die, your whole family will suffer. I don't care if you believe it or not, but I do. Qin Shoshing snorted. Are you bluffing? At such a close distance, how can I not die if I'm affected? Stop pretending with me. Wang Dahu wasn't joking. I was fishing at night a year ago, and I was hit by your F*King Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force with a Stinger missile. I didn't die, right? What? So the person who wasted one of my Stinger missiles was actually you. Qin Shoshing suddenly realized. F*CK. When enemies meet, their eyes turn red. Wang Dahu had been searching high and low for a long time, only to find it by chance. He had been looking for the son of AB*TCH who had blown him up with a Stinger missile for the whole year, but he had not found any clues. He really did not expect that the son of AB*TCH would come knocking on his door today. Boss, this bastard almost killed you last year. Originally, the people on Wang Dahu's ship were all loyal to him. Now that they met their boss's enemy, they were even more jealous. Even those who were carrying heavy weapons glared over. This time Qin Shouxing was truly afraid. With so many rocket launchers and missiles aimed at you, if one misfired, you would be blown to pieces. There would be no saving you. You beast, I've been looking for you for a whole year. The anger in Wang Dahu's heart could be imagined. However, Wang Dahu also realized that if he really fought with this beast, then the other party would definitely arrange for even more troops. That way, Gu Qia and Su Yun would find it even more difficult to escape from this sea area. After some consideration, Wang Dahu could only temporarily put aside his personal grudges. Boss, what's the point of talking nonsense with him? If we want to fight, then let's fight. Why should we be afraid of them? Let's blow up this old dog's warship first. Let's see what confidence this bastard has. Ling Feng could not wait to command his brothers to fire at the enemy's warship. However, Wang Dahu did not give any orders. He pointed at Qin Shouxing and said, "Let me tell you, the person you want to capture is on my ship. However, this is my territory. You Dongying people can forget about behaving atrociously in my territory. I'll give you a chance to live. Let's see if you can grasp it." Live. Qin Shouxing narrowed his eyes. Just now, he really regretted taking the ship to his door. After all, he did not expect the person he bombed to be Wang Dahu. Moreover, the Stinger missile did not kill him. It was simply the 9th miracle in the world. Wang Dahu nodded. "I'll give you 2 choices. First, listen to my request. Second, we'll open fire. No matter who wins or loses after we open fire, you will definitely die. Understand?" The muscles on Qin Shouxing's face twitched. In the end, he still made a compromise. In the face of death, anyone would have lingering fears, especially people like them. They already had a very high status. Once they died, they would have nothing. This was a fact that no one could accept. "What do you want?" Qin Shouxing said coldly. "As long as your ship is here, the other destroyers will not harass us anymore," Wang Dahu said. "You help me cover, and let the 3 of them leave the international waters, and return to Huaxia. I'll give you a chance to live." "Give me a chance to live? Aren't you being too arrogant?" Qin Shouxing said. Wang Dahu sneered. "Beast, if I want you to die now, it's just a matter of a sentence. However, if you can let the 3 of them leave, I'll give you a chance to return to your ship alive. At that time, you can attack my ship. Who knows, maybe the winner will be you and the one who dies will be me. You can think carefully about whether this deal is worth it or not." Qin Shouxing fell into deep thought. Indeed, this deal was too suitable. As long as he returned to his ship, he would not have to be afraid of Wang Dahu's firepower. "Beast Captain, I don't have much time for you to consider," Wang Dahu reminded him. "Okay." Qin Shouxing really didn't need to think too much about this deal. Everything was beneficial to him. At least he would be out of danger. Suddenly, a voice broke the deal between Wang Dahu and Qin Shouxing. "What's good about it? It's not good at all. You're dreaming." Su Yun walked down the ship at some point, and came to the 2nd-level platform around the ship. Lin Gu and Gu Qia followed behind him. Little 8 looked helplessly at Wang Dahu, indicating that he couldn't stop Su Yun and the others. Wang Dahu looked at Su Yun in confusion. "Brother Su Yun, this way you can leave cleanly and don't have to worry about people chasing you." "Boss Wang, you're a righteous person. If you don't mind, I'll call you Brother Hu." "Su Yun." "Brother Hu, I Su Yun, am also righteous to righteous people. I can't throw my troubles onto others and run away. If I do that, I Su Yun won't be Su Yun." Su Yun's words were abnormally firm. "Brother Hu, I'm the same as my brother. I'm also a righteous person." "Lin Gu, we can't repay you for what you've done for us. But we definitely won't implicate you. If we leave, this bastard will gather the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Forces warships to surround and attack you. Then Then we'll feel guilty for the rest of our lives. Wang Dahu smiled. I'm not doing this for you. Miss Gu saved my life. If I can use my life to help her, I think it's worth it. I don't think it's worth it. Gu Qia rejected. Wang Dahu, if you still remember that I saved your life, then don't do that. You didn't use your own life to save me. You used a whole ship's worth of lives to save me. I'm not worth so many people sacrificing myself. If I really have to sacrifice myself, I'd rather sacrifice myself. Su Yin suddenly sneered. No one needs to be sacrificed. I don't want to believe that these Japanese can do anything to me. As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yin looked at Lin Ge, and Lin Ji's figure suddenly flashed onto Qin Shouxing's speedboat. Cries of agony could be heard everywhere. Qin Shouxing's 6 trusted aides had all fallen into the sea. Lin Ge clapped his hands and said to Qin Shouxing, You're a beast, right? Consider yourself unlucky. I'll tell your beast later that he should have shot you onto the wall back then. He shouldn't have given birth to you to suffer. Su Yin took out a Stinger missile from the pile of weapons. Back then, this grandson used this to deal with you. Then I'll try to see if it's useful. I heard that once you're locked onto by this thing, you won't be able to escape. Haha, let me try to deal with people. Su Yin had already boarded Qin Shouxing's boat. Poor Qin Shouxing. Just now, an RPG was aimed at his face. Now a Stinger missile was aimed at his face. There was no way he could live like this. Chapter 1083. Qin Shouxing's expression changed. What was this guy trying to do? Go back to his ship? Was it obvious that they were going to escort him? Or did this guy have other intentions? After all, Su Yin was still carrying a Stinger missile on his shoulder. If he was tricked into going into the depths of the sea and fired a missile at him, wouldn't he be dead meat? Brother Su Yun, don't do anything rash. Wang Dahu was quite surprised by Su Yun's actions. Su Yin was trying to get himself into trouble. I'll handle this on the high seas. You're a guest. How can I let you get involved in danger? I'm the one who caused this trouble. Su Yin. If I don't handle it, I won't be able to feel at ease. I only want Brother Hu to help me with one thing. Think of a way to send Gu Qia to Xinjiang. I'll arrange for a friend of Xinjiang to pick you up. As for the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force, Pigeon and I can handle it. Gu Qia frowned slightly and said firmly, Su Yin, if you don't leave, I won't leave. It's useless to say anything. I know you don't want to bring trouble to Wang Dahu. You guys go and handle it. I'll wait for you. Oh. Su Yin was silent for a while. There were too many uncertain and dangerous factors. He really didn't want Gu Qia to stay in this sea area. If the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force opened fire, no matter how sturdy Wang Dahu's ship was, it would still be severely damaged. It would be very dangerous. Without knowing if the Japanese would open fire, Su Yin really didn't want Gu Qia to stay here and get involved in this mess. However, the stubborn Miss Gu had already made up her mind. No matter what Su Yin said, she wouldn't leave. As long as I can return in one piece, I guarantee that you guys won't be hurt. Qin Shouxing said. Let's make a deal. A deal that benefits everyone. How about it? I'd rather believe that a pig can swim freestyle than believe your Japanese is fart mouth. Su Yin. Cut the crap. Let's go. Lin Ge started the Japanese speedboat and brought Su Yin and Qin Shouxing to the warship. Before leaving, Su Yin turned around and gave Wang Dahu a look. This kind of eye contact between men could only be understood by men. Boss, are they going to take that bastard back just like that? Ling Feng was a little unwilling. Su Yin and Lin Ge are both men. They don't want the flames of war to affect us. They don't want us to get into trouble because of them. That's why they took the risk to take Qin Shouxing away. Wang Dahu said. As long as Qin Shouxing is in their hands, the Japanese won't dare to do anything. They'll buy us more time. What do you mean? Gu Qia didn't understand. Wang Dahu looked back at Gu Qia. Miss Gu, I'm sorry. Without waiting for Gu Qia to ask what he meant, Wang Dahu quickly chopped at Gu Qia's neck. Gu Qia only felt her vision go black and she didn't know anything else. Ling Feng, you must send Miss Gu safely to Xinjiang. Wang Dahu said. This is the most important task I'm giving you now. You must complete it. Although Ling Feng wanted to stay here and get through the most difficult time with his boss had given him this task because he trusted him. How could he betray his boss's trust? Yes, boss. I promised to complete the task. Xiaoba, go fill up Su Yun's speedboat with fuel. Fill up the reserve fuel tank too, Wang Dahu said. If they need to escape, their own boat will be faster. You have to be prepared to meet them at any time. Do you understand? Understood. Xiaoba nodded heavily. Boss, I'm afraid it's not enough to deal with this matter so simply. Of course it's not enough, Wang Dahu said. Do you still remember how many times the Japanese Deputy Prime Minister Su Dalong came here to eat the seafood dishes I personally cooked? Xiaoba shook his head. A few times. After we found out about his identity, we didn't let him come up. I'll call him and invite him here to try my cooking. Do you think he'll reject? The corners of Wang Dahu's mouth curled up slightly. Since he wouldn't be able to take it head-on, he would seek other channels. Although he really didn't want Japan's Deputy Prime Minister to eat on his ship, if a Su Dalong came at this time, the matter would be easily resolved. Xiaoba nodded in realization. I understand now. Boss, you want to use the Japanese to suppress their own people. Wang Dahu didn't hesitate anymore and started to do it now. Ling Feng sent Gu Qia away. After a while, Su Yun and Lin Gu would leave too. This way, even if the matter blew up and his restaurant was surrounded by the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force, as long as a Su Dalong appeared, the matter would naturally be resolved. At most, he would ask a Su Dalong to check on his ship. After all, the three of them would have left by then. The other party would have no evidence. What could they do to him? Sometimes, to deal with a vicious dog, you had to use its evil master. Only an evil master could make the dog run away with its tail between its legs. However, Wang Dahu didn't let his subordinates let down their guard. All the heavy weapons were still aimed at Qin Shouxing's ship. Once there was any abnormality, his plan naturally couldn't continue. He would fight if he had to. Who cared what it was? However, all the officers and soldiers on the Japanese destroyer were very nervous and didn't dare to do anything. As for the reason, of course, it was because their boss's head was being aimed at by a Stinger missile launcher. If this thing went down, there wouldn't be anything left of it. My two little brothers. I know what you mean. When the speedboat got closer and closer to his warship, Qin Shouxing started to become confident. He once again showed his smiling face. You saved me from the other party's hands, so you're my friends. I won't make things difficult for you. Actually, we only want to catch that woman. It has nothing to do with you two. You two are young talents. Why do you want to get involved in this mess? When you go to Japan, follow me. I promise you that you'll have a meteoric rise in the Maritime Self-Defense Force. F***ck off. Shut up. Su Yun wasn't in the mood to talk nonsense with him. This situation was very dangerous. Hearing Qin Shouxing's words, Su Yun felt inexplicably irritated. In a fit of rage, he directly kicked Qin Shouxing. Qin Shouxing staggered from the kick. He wanted to say something but stopped. He didn't dare to scold them anymore. The two of them dared to force him to walk to their warship. That meant that their courage was extraordinary. He opened his mouth to scold and threaten them, but it was useless. He would only receive fierce punches and kicks in return. He might as well shut his mouth and obediently squat in the corner. Brother, let's go up and fight it out with them. Who's afraid of who? Lin Gu said. I've been wanting to have fun for a long time. Su Yun really wanted to start a massacre. After all, this F***king Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force often bullied Huaxiao's fishermen in the high seas. The crimes they committed were definitely enough to kill them. That depends on whether Captain Beast will cooperate with us. Cooperate. Qin Shouxing said. We can sit down and talk about cooperation. I'm serious. Chapter 1084. Ling Feng brought two of his brothers to escort Gu Qia to Shin River. Xiaoba quickly filled Su Yun and Lin Ji's super speedboat with fuel. The fuel reserve was also filled to the brim. Everything was ready except for one thing. After Wang Dahu contacted a Su Dalong, His eyes never left Su Yun and Lin Gu, who were about to board the ship with Qin Shouxing. He held the binoculars in his left hand and clenched his right fist so hard that his veins popped out. "Boss." After Xiao Ba filled the ship with fuel, he said unconfidently, "I'm afraid they're in trouble this time." "You're wrong," Wang Dahu said. "The two of them aren't simple. Both of them are quite strong. Let's not talk about Su Yun's suppressive aura. Even Lin Gu is definitely a top expert among the super experts. He's definitely not weaker than any of you." Xiao Ba's jaw dropped and his eyes widened. "Boss, you're not lying to me, right? Both of them are the top experts among the super experts? So strong?" Hehehe, Su Yun's strength has probably surpassed the level of a super expert. Wang Dahu shook his head. "He's a talent. He's still so young. He's really a talent. It can't be beyond the level of a super expert?" Xiao Ba's eyes were filled with disbelief. "Boss. Then, isn't he on the same level as you?" Wang Dahu nodded and smiled in admiration. "Ha ha ha, I've cultivated for 40 years. I'm probably on par with Su Yun. This young man's future is limitless. If there's a chance, you must ask him to teach you." Xiao Ba shook his head. "Boss, although you said it, I still can't believe it. Why can't I see that they're so strong? Because both of them are stronger than you. If they want to hide it, you won't be able to sense it," Wang Dahu said. "Then, what do you mean?" Xiao Ba asked. "Maybe they really might cause a ruckus on the Japanese's ship?" Wang Dahu nodded. "It's not just a possibility. When they made this decision, they probably already made up their minds. They are determined to sink this destroyer." Little Eight could only sigh in his heart. These two people were really bold. "Everyone, keep your spirits up. If there's a situation and you need our support, none of us in Big Tiger Seafood City are cowards. Do you all understand?" Wang Dahu said loudly. "Dahu Seafood City doesn't have a single coward." Everyone shouted. Wang Dahu could be considered to have thousands of people responding to his call on the high seas. Because the guests had absolute privacy and soundproof space, they had no idea what was going on outside. Wang Dahu didn't let anyone inform them. If they were disturbed, they wouldn't be able to help at all. Instead, they would have to help them escape. If a fight really broke out, it didn't matter if these guests were buried with them. After all, those who could afford to eat here weren't people with clean hands. If it wasn't for the fact that it was easy to make money by breaking the rules, who would be willing to spend 100 times more money to eat in such a place? Wang Dahu was very clear that among the 100 people who came to eat here, 50 of them were corrupt officials while the other 50 were profiteers who relied on corrupt officials to make a fortune. Even death couldn't wipe out their crimes. The surface of the sea looked calm, but there were hidden waves. Once they were broken, there would be a storm of blood and raging waves. "Prepare Su Yun's boat. I might need it at any time." Wang Dahu saw through the telescope that Su Yun and the others had already boarded the ship and hurriedly ordered Little Eight. Little Eight was very clear that the boss's orders couldn't be disobeyed. He immediately dropped the speedboat into the sea and was ready to move out at any time. After Su Yun and Lin Gu held Qin Shouxing hostage and boarded the ship, they were immediately surrounded by a group of well-trained Japanese soldiers on the deck. If it wasn't for the fact that they were holding their captain hostage and were holding on to the Stinger missiles that could be fired at any time, they would probably have been turned into dice by the Japanese soldiers. "Beast Captain, are you not going to get your people to put down their guns? Do you want everyone to fight to the death?" Su Yun warned. Right. Qin Shouxing hurriedly said. "Put down your guns. These two are friends of the great Japanese Empire. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been able to return safely. We're a country of etiquette. We have to treat our guests well. Don't be so rude, do you hear me? Put down your guns." Even an idiot could tell that these two weren't guests. How could a guest point a Stinger missile at the host's head? No way, right? Country of etiquette? Don't flatter yourself. Lin Gu said in disgust. "I have a shallow stomach. If I vomit because of you, you'll have to clean up yourself. How troublesome would that be?" Many of the Japanese soldiers listened to Qin Shouxing. After all, Japan was a country with a strict hierarchy. Qin Shouxing was the captain, the overall commander, and their leader. The hierarchy in Japan was even stricter. Even if your superior told you to shoot yourself, you couldn't complain at all. Not to mention a small matter like losing your gun. After all, in the eyes of these Japanese soldiers, Su Yin and Lin Ge were just two people. Coming to their ship was like sending sheep to a tiger's den. Even if they lost their weapons, they couldn't do anything. Su Yin had a Stinger missile in his hand, but the Japanese soldiers believed that if they all threw away their weapons, they wouldn't be able to use the missile to attack them. That way they would be in danger of being accidentally injured. Pa. Ever since the first Japanese soldier threw his weapon on the ground, the other Japanese soldiers started to throw their weapons on the ground. Throw it into the sea. Su Yin added. Who told you to throw it on the deck? Beast Captain, I don't have much patience. You should know that since I dared to come to your ship with you, I don't plan to return alive. If you cooperate, we can talk about anything. If you don't, then we can only fight to the death. Those who are barefoot aren't afraid of those who are wearing shoes. Lin Ge said. No matter what, you're still the captain of a ship. Even if we die together with the people on your ship, it'll be worth it. Qin Shouxing obviously understood this. If they really had to fight to the death, he definitely couldn't sacrifice his own life. When his safety was guaranteed, it didn't matter how he fought. But now he was still in the enemy's hands. This was a bit troublesome. Throw it. Throw it into the sea. Qin Shouxing ordered angrily. His heart was also filled with anger. This matter was simply a great humiliation to him. He was actually held hostage on his own ship, and did so many humiliating things to the Japanese soldiers' honor. Su Yin didn't expect Qin Shouxing to be so cooperative. This made things easier. Beast Captain, can you get your people to line up? When dealing with a smiling tiger, the biggest danger was that he would stab you in the back. Su Yin would naturally be on guard. After all, the people who threw away their weapons were only the ones he saw. How many more did he not see? I'm already very cooperative. The two of you, I'm very sincere. You should be more sincere too, right? Qin Shouxing said. This Stinger missile isn't a joke. What if? That you're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.